kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Well, hello, everybody. What is happening? It is Thursday night yet again. I feel like we just stopped last week's show. That's what I feel like. It's Thursday already, and that's a good thing. It depends on how you look at it. But for me, from my perspective, it is good because I am here with you guys yet again for the Thursday thick of it. This is GreenBean, and I am happy that you are with us. We have a massive show planned for you. And when I say massive, I mean that literally nothing is planned for you. I mean, literally nothing. This is going to be the organic of all organic shows. I think we have a bottle of wine to talk about. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know. But it's going to be great. You want to know why? Because we have a very special young man who's going to join us as of right now, and we like to call him Frankie from Flatbush. There he is. Look at him. How you doing, Frankie?
Where else do you want to be on a Thursday in the middle of the off season with nothing going on and no signings to talk about and no transactions and absolutely nothing going on, but except right here with GreenBean and Frankie, so we can talk and gripe intelligently. It's gripe time, but only intelligent gripes are accepted. Yeah,
that's
like
right.
I've been saying.
That's right. Kevin Vafadu's checking in early saying, let's gripe intelligently. And Frankie, maybe you can help me a little bit. Originally when this little phrase came out of my brain, I wanted to use it and say gripe jelly. I don't know. I still in here. It's bouncing around. How can I use gripe jelly with this? Can I make a shirt? What is it? Is there anything there? Do you see?
Well, I don't know. I guess that's better than gripe jam.
It is. Okay. All right. So we're not at the bottom. It's not at the bottom. It might have to float a little bit. I mean, it might have to rise a little bit more before we can use grape jelly. But anyway, it makes me hungry. I love myself some grape jelly. So why not some grape jelly? Joseph FICO is here with us tonight, Frankie. We have Harry is back. Bismo Charismo from the land down under. He's given us the green hearts. You got to love that. Hello, Bismo. It's good to have you, buddy. Ryan Jet is here. He says you can't wait to see all the fans week one. Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some week one action. We're going to use every single Thursday thick of it to chip away at the resistance Frankie from Flatbush has to going to a game. We're just going to chip. We're going to see if it might not work. It might not land, but we're going to chip away and get Frankie to his first game, hopefully one of these days. And why not opening day? Hawk is here. Good evening to you. Patrick Zanelli. Owen Bararia is back. It's good to see you, Owen. Hank is here. David Goodstein. And here it comes. We couldn't have a show. I want you to know this, Jets Forever. We could not have a show without that right here. It's the beginning. That's how we know we're actually live. We're actually real. It's really happening. Jets Forever's traditional green heart sending us love before he destroys our hopes and dreams with players that we like. But the draft's over, so maybe that's over too. GreenBean is here. Look at that. Hey, GreenBean. Wat2K is here. As you guys know, Wat2K, the president of the Virginia Jets fan club, is here with us, as is Jets Chaos with Jeremy, who's just doing some wonderful things. He had a show last night, Frankie, where I think Iowa Jets fans sent them a bottle of corn wine or something like that. You know, Iowa comes from Iowa, so there's lots of corn up there. I think it's corn wine. I might have that wrong. We'll talk about that later. But Jets Mess is back. Yeah, Mo Lake Louiso is here. What's up, Ron? Good to see you. Bradigan's here. You know, we got to spend a good hello. Excuse me. Okay. Bradigan and some other guys, Jets Mess and some others. We got to watch the 2015 Jets Patriots overtime victory at home last night in the Beanbaggers group. That was a good time. That was the game, Frankie, where the Patriots flubbed the overtime coin toss. They won the coin toss and they said, we want to kick it that way.
But wait a minute.
Remember that?
Wait a minute. I've been told that Coach Bill Belichick is the genius of all geniuses. How could he possibly flub the coin toss? I don't understand.
Well, he did try to cover for his players out there. He said, no, that was the plan. It's like, okay, well, you gave the Jets the ball. They drove down and scored on you. Doesn't sound like a great plan. He said it was the plan. We didn't make a mistake. That was the plan. So it was an exciting game. You know what I mean? That was literally the last game that meant anything for us that actually turned out okay. The next week was the Buffalo game against the Rex Ryans, and we haven't had an important game since, Frankie. It's been a tough go, my friend.
Well, I do have, if you'd like to get into it, I do have a conspiracy theory about Bill Belichick.
Oh, hey, what else are we going to do? This is going to fall right in line. I don't know if it's going to be the gripe part will be in there, I'm sure, but the intelligent part, we're going to have to wait and see. But I think this is good. Let's hear a Bill Belichick conspiracy theory, everybody. Brace yourself. Here we go.
So, Bill Belichick, the theory goes, prevented Tom Brady from joining the Miami Dolphinians.
Just this year?
Just this year.
All right, talk about it.
Well, the background is that there was a meeting when Tom Brady was a free agent to be, but not yet in the legal tampering period. And there was a meeting on a boat with Stephen Ross, supposedly, as reported, I believe, by Mike Florio of PFD, on a boat with an unnamed quarterback that everyone presumes is Tom Brady, and Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphinians. And invited to the meeting was who? Coach Brian Flores. And Coach Flo said, you know what? This is tampering. I'm not showing up to any boat. I'm not comfortable with this. Nope, not showing up. So he doesn't show up. Well, Tom Brady goes on, as we know, to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wins the championship, all of that. And so fast forward to this year. And now Mike Florio had been reporting that Tom Brady again wanted to go to the Miami Dolphinians and become not only the quarterback, but a part owner of the team as well. And so the plot thickens. Now, what happened this year? Well, of course, Tom Brady retired, and Coach Flores also filed the lawsuit against the NFL, if you remember. And those two things happened on the same exact day, if you remember.
Yes, I do.
Now, how odd is that?
Well, I think now this was part of this was included in the Brian Flores diatribe about all the things going wrong.
Oh, yes.
In the NFL. So this is where some of that came from. Now, do you think that's why? Oh, you're not done.
No, the story's not over. The story's not even close to over.
All right, let's get into this. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Now, the plot thickens. What else happened with Bill Belichick this offseason that was kind of weird? Well, if you remember, he sent a text message to who? Coach Flores.
Yes, he did.
And if you remember, he was interviewing for jobs after he got unceremoniously and weirdly fired by the Dolphinians. We all said, what? They fired Coach Flo? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, he did, and he was going for other jobs. And one of the jobs he was going for was what? The New York Giants. And so now, the other piece of the information you need to understand, Bill Belichick's been in the NFL for 50 years. 50, just about. He knows everybody, knows everything, right? He's got connections all over the place. And so what does Bill Belichick do? Considering that, he knows that Tom Brady's thinking about going to the Dolphinians, and then he's going to be in his own division. And he thinks he wants that to happen?
Does not.
So he sends a text message to Coach Flores that was supposedly a mistake, congratulating him on getting the job. Only problem, Coach Flores hadn't interviewed for the job. And so Bill Belichick said, oh, my mistake. I thought you were Coach Daboll.
Right.
And that means, wait a minute, Flores says, wait a minute. Well, he's congratulating mistakenly Coach Dayball for getting the job. I have an interview tomorrow. How is it? How is it that I am going to have a sham interview and somebody like Belichick, who's connected into everybody in the NFL, knows that the job is already given to Dayball. So this is a sham interview. Therefore, I'm going to file the law. I'm going to file after he goes for his interview. He goes, I'm going to file the lawsuit. I'm going to use this as, evidence that something fishy is going on here. And he files the lawsuit. Tom Brady retires and says, oh, wait a minute. My Dolphin plan just got scuttled by old Bill Belichick. Now, what about that? That's the end of the story.
So, but yeah, right. So we know that the Bill Belichick scumbaggery is very, very real because,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like, oh, and look at the way he handles it, so he texts Flores and says, hey, congrats on the job. I have an interview to, oh, I'm sorry. I meant Dayball. It's like, that doesn't make this better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the better way, if you were, if you gave a shit or if you weren't purpose driven with that text, you could have said something like, I'm just saying, I think you're going to nail it. I think you're going to nail. I'm putting out the positive vibes for you, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what you could have done. Instead, he goes, oh, sorry, wrong Brian.
Right.
So,
and he knows that's going to fuel the fire of what Flores is already thinking about, because he already knows about the boat meeting. He already knows Coach Flo got treated badly, getting fired for no good reason, really, and all of that. And so he mistakenly sends the text, scuttles the whole thing, and now Brady doesn't go to the Dolphinians.
Incredible. Well, I'll tell you what, that has about as much potential to be real as the idea that Tom Brady would deflate balls or Bill Belichick would record signals, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's lots of evidence that stuff happened, that other stuff happened. So why not this?
Right. I'm with you, Frankie. I fully support. I throw the full 220 pounds of my weight behind your story. That's what I'm doing now. I like it. What do you guys think in the chat? Is Frankie okay? Is he barking up the wrong tree here? I think I like it. I like it. Ant Jets checks in. What's up, Ant Jets? He says, I love Jets forever on a black t-shirt. Yeah, I love Jets forever. That would be a good shirt, actually. Because people who don't know, they could say, yeah, sure, I love the Jets forever. But they don't know we're really talking about this one particular person in the chats and with the green heart. You know what, Ant Jets? I just might do that. And I'll put written by Ant Jets on the bottom of the shirt. What do you think? Slide it in there in the bottom right.
Hey, at least one person would buy it.
Yeah, at least one. At least one. Ant Jets. Or maybe Jets Forever. Two of them would buy it. We'd sell two of them. So Amityville, I want to just say that the name caught me first. I got to tell you, I like that Amityville. I like it a lot. Now, I'm also a big Amityville nerd, the Amityville horror and all that stuff. It tormented me as a child. The Amityville horror ruined many years of my life with the creaking, with the rocking chairs and the eyes in the window and all this stuff. I freaked me out. So it got me to a place where I read the book, I researched it, I did all sorts of stuff about the Amityville story. So I'm naturally inclined to see it, but your wordplay there is very good. But the question, Frankie, I'm going to throw this to you. I'm very interested because this is actually one of the areas I wanted to talk about tonight, which was the defensive line and some of the possibilities we have. But he asks a question: should we release Sheldon Rankins? What do you think about this idea that, I've heard that quite a few times this offseason. What do you think about releasing Sheldon Rankins? Pros, cons? What do you got?
Well, this year, Sheldon Rankins for us is going to be a backup if all goes as planned, barring injury. So I don't mind keeping him around as a backup. He's a little expensive, it's true. And I'm hoping he can play better than he did last year. I'm hoping another year away from his injuries and his leg power will be better. So, and if not, this is the last year of his deal. We're not long-term connected to him. The question would be, who do you replace him with? I mean, if there's guys in training camp who play better than he does, then he can be inactive and he can, lose his spot on the active roster. So as of right now, I would say no. if we picked up a couple of defense, if we picked up DJ Jones, for example, or, and people,
Right.
somebody like that, then you could say, okay, let's save that money. But we didn't. So I'd say right now, no, I'd be disinclined to do that.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing, Amity Villain, is that I think I agree with Frankie. Like, number one, Sheldon Rankins is a good player. And like when you look at guys like him and their immediate impact on a very, very bad team, it's hard to judge them on that one, on that one audition tape, let's say. He's been known as a very effective defensive lineman. In addition to that, he's also known as a very well-liked leader. Like he's one of those guys. He's vocal and he's really a good motivator, especially for young guys and all that. And everybody loves him. So there's that too. But the guy makes $5 million, I think, just over $5 million, which is right in that pocket. Like gaining $5 million is significant, but having a player only cost $5 million, who's been a long-term starter in the NFL, who, if they do settle in, last year, first year in the system and all that stuff, can be a major asset. Like $5 million isn't that much for somebody to provide the potential impact that he has. Now, if we went out there and signed Ogunjobi, or like you said, Jones, and there's, June 1st is coming, and then obviously all the cut down days and all that, there's going to be lots of potential. I don't think Sheldon Rankins is so far from the potential cut list. If we get somebody, I think he's on the table, so to speak, but I wouldn't just haphazardly cut him. I think that he's a good guy to have around. And if we know anything, being Jets fans, is that we get injured. You know what I mean? So rather than going from, let's say, Solomon Thomas is our starter, right? Just for shits and giggles, or JFM and Quinnen Williams, and then Quinnen Williams gets hurt, I'd rather go to Sheldon Rankins than some guy that we picked up off the scrap heap who's just kind of filler. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think I would.
Point. That's a good point. If we learned anything from last year, we should understand that quality depth is very, very important. And even if Sheldon Rankins falls down to third string, I'd rather have him there than, Nathan Shepard or, Tanzel Smart or something like that, Yeah. Now, if we can replace him, if we can find somebody who's better, then sure. But otherwise, no.
Yeah. And that, I think, Jets fans, especially this year, I think it's happening a lot this year because we brought in the last 2 years really a lot of talent, which we're not necessarily used to. Okay. Now we have this idea that if you bring in somebody at a position who's clearly going to be the starter, if you have somebody that's good, maybe not as good, but just good, we want to trade them. We want to get rid of them when it's actually better. Like Bryce Hall's a good one to talk about with this. Bryce Hall can start in the NFL. Now, you might know, obviously the Jets didn't think he was, cornerback 1 or 2. So, they obviously added guys. So their thoughts, we can assume that they thought we needed an upgrade there. But Bryce Hall's a player, right? Hardworking, very talented, athletic, young, cheap. Having, if Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed or whoever gets hurt, falling back to Bryce Hall is a fantastic situation to be in, as opposed to years past when we would fall back to, Parry Nickerson. You know what I mean? Like, why have your team filled with those guys, especially when they're not that expensive? Now, with Ogunjobi in particular, the deal that he was about to sign with Chicago was 3 years, $20 million. I think it was like $20.6 million, which is what is that, Frankie? Just about $7 million a year, right?
It's a good deal.
Yeah. So in the event you bring him in, and you don't want to have 2 of those types of guys then you can maybe let a Sheldon Rankins go, because then you're getting Ogunjobi 3 years for $15 million, even if that was the same deal. So you can work things like that, but I'm a big fan of keeping these guys on the team if we can. Like, we don't have to, we don't feel I don't see the pressure to move guys in the same way that a lot of others do. And like I said, Bryce Hall's one that comes to mind. And I'm really curious to see what they do this year with the cornerbacks, because I have a sneaking suspicion that they are going to play 3 and 4 cornerbacks, not necessarily safeties. I think we're going to see 4 cornerbacks on the field a lot more than maybe we think they are. Like, we like to think of the traditional, 4, 3, and then the 3 cornerbacks and 2 safeties. Like, we like to think in that paradigm, but the truth is you don't have to have a safety on the field. You know what I mean? Or 2 of them, let's say. You don't. You can have cornerbacks. And I think that we might see a lot of creativity in that side of things. Same thing with the defensive line. I'm actually excited about it, Frankie. It's nice to see a lot of talent running around. You know what I mean?
Well, and plus we do have other people we can cut. Like, so if we bring in Ogunjobi, there's plenty of people who can get cut who are, who are just sitting around, like Javante Moffett and, Rashad Wild Goose. Okay.
Wild Goose.
There's plenty of people that if we just need a roster spot for a guy like Ogunjobi, we can have it without getting rid of Rankins, especially because Ogunjobi probably is going to have a stair-step contract anyway, considering his injury. We're probably more confident in him for next year than this year, although without knowing the medicals, I don't know. But that could be possible where we just stair-step it up for him. But I would like to keep that depth, and there's plenty of other people who can get cut, for a roster spot if we need to. Not a problem.
Right. That's the interesting thing about it, is there's a whole bunch of bottom end guys that you would like to see go first. Now, obviously you want to keep certain amount of players for each position, so you can make sure that, you're not going into the season at a disadvantage at one position over the other. But there's a lot of guys on this roster that should be cut and will be cut before guys like Sheldon Rankins, unless they need the money, which what do we have? I think we have $9 million left, just under 8.8 million or something like that, I think is what it is.
I haven't looked at that recently, but yeah, I mean, if he needs to go, I guess the way to look at it, if Sheldon Rankins needed to go, we're in a good spot.
Yeah,
because it means we've significantly upgraded. So if we see Sheldon Rankins go, the positive way to look at it is, hey, we're improving the roster significantly.
Yeah. Look, just a year ago, Sheldon Rankins was brought in to be the starter. Now we're looking at potentially not even needing him. I think he'll be here all year. I do. I think that's the way it's going to end up. But you can see just the advancements from last year. I mean, what Joe Douglas has done here. I mean, I know there's still a lot of grumpkins, like a lot of people struggled with the idea that Joe Douglas is any good because his record the last 2 years is 6 wins. You know what I mean? So yeah, you have a point when coming at the argument through that avenue. At the same time, if you just look at the team that he inherited, or even look at the team at the end of 2019 or 2000, so if you look at the team we have now, it is completely different and upgraded at every single position, whether it's running back, quarterback. I mean, quarterback, you can argue that Zach is not better than Sam. We don't know yet, right? But I have an idea that maybe he is. I feel more confident in Zach than I did for Sam, even though I wanted Sam to be successful, obviously. But when you look at cornerbacks, defensive ends, maybe you have an argument that linebacker, because we had Avery Williamson and CJ Mosley when they came, but that's about it. Can you think of another position that we haven't upgraded for this team?
No, we've upgraded everywhere. I mean, and tight end, it's a huge upgrade. For example, the running back position, Breece Hall's a major addition. Wild Goose is gone, but I don't know about that. Jets forever. Is Wild Goose gone? I didn't see that transaction.
Yeah, but he's on a tear right now. Frankie Smart is gone. He's just doing his thing.
I see.
Bryce Hall is trash. That's Jets forever's. He's lit the fire.
Gotcha. Yeah, those guys are going to be gone. Yeah, I think that's what you mean. They will be gone. Yeah, right. So I forgot what I was going to say, but I'm sure it was going to be awesome.
It was going to be great. What was it? What was the upgrades? Have you seen it? Yeah.
So the tight ends are an incredible upgrade from last year. Think about the guys we had: Ryan Griffin and Tyler Kroft versus CJ Uzomah and Tyler Conklin.
Right.
That upgrade is massive. I'll remind you that CJ Uzomah in particular had a catch percentage last year of 78%. That is insanely high. And Tyler Conklin had it like 71%. And what was our problem last year? Drops. right? One of our problems. We had a lot of problems, but one of the big problems for Zach was drops. And so what does Joe Douglas do? He says, let me give him not only one, not only two, but also Jeremy Ruckert. Let me give him 3 security blankets. People who can catch the damn freaking ball at the, if we need to, have a security blanket, we got it. They're not going to be dropping balls. Let's hope. God, please.
Yeah.
And so that alone is a massive upgrade. I mean, Laken Tomlinson over GVR is a massive upgrade. Mekhi Becton, presuming he comes back as Mekhi, over Morgan Moses is a massive upgrade.
Right.
These
Agreed.
are massive upgrades. They're not small. Even Nick Bawden over Trevon Wesco as a fullback is huge, because Bawden's an actual fullback. We're not converting somebody to try and block somebody. So these are huge upgrades. And even Garrett Wilson adding to the wide receiver room. I mean, Bleacher Report said of our wide receiver room this year, we have one of the most dangerous wide receiver rooms in the league, they said. I was like, what? We do? Really?
Well, look at it. Think about this.
Because but Bleacher Report is saying this, and that's the important part. They're saying the media is saying we have one of the deepest wide receiver rooms in the league, and that they're a quote dangerous crew. So all of a sudden, and all we did was re-sign Braxton and draft Garrett Wilson. Really?
Yeah, well, let's take a look and think about this for a minute. Look at our wide receiver room in 2019 and even 2020.
Yeah.
Like Robbie Anderson was still here in 2019. We had
Perryman.
Rashad. No, well, we got Rashad Perryman when Robbie left. So either way, one way or the other. But it was Robbie Anderson. Who the hell else did we have? Was Jermaine Kearse still here? I don't think he was still here.
We can't even remember him. If the Jets historian named GreenBean can't even remember who the damn wide receivers were, how bad were they?
Struggling. Right. I mean, maybe it's some sort of therapeutic block I put up. It's
the Gase erase.
The Gase erase, right, man? But it's like, who were these guys? Now, look, we were in such a situation where Robbie Anderson, who, in my opinion, is, he's done great things with his career and he can be a dangerous guy, he should not be the best wide receiver on your team. But he clearly was. It was such a situation that where us losing him made Jetnation furious, because he was all we had. Who can remember? Anybody remember who the hell were these guys? Doxson, right? And Doxson took the 2020 COVID thing. Oh, the Smiths were here. Jeff Smith and Vincent Smith were here.
Jesus.
Which I think, look, I was a big Vincent Smith supporter, rooting for the guy, right? I liked his lineage or whatever, his path to get here. I thought that he had a shot, but I don't know. For me, it's like, it's time. You've been here 3 years. You haven't done a damn thing. And last year they had their opportunities. Jeff Smith had just a series of drops and
wide open. Like you're open. He's hitting you. You have to catch the ball. You're a professional. This is what you do. Catch the damn thing. Right.
That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. So, look, there were guys. So like, if you just look at that position, what we've done in these past 2 seasons, like we added Elijah Moore. We added obviously Garrett Wilson. This year we still have Denzel Mims, who I don't really, I'm not going to get into an argument with anybody. I have nothing but confidence in that player. I understand why people don't, but if he pops, it's a whole different thing. But we still have Corey Davis. We know the impact that Braxton Berrios can have, and so the guys that are like among our starting receivers, like that caliber, are on the way bottom wide receiver 5s and 6s and that kind of thing. And you just look at that, what Zach Wilson has at his disposal, man. Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. Like, I don't think we've ever had 2 guys that, were those types of players together. We would have a Santana Moss, and that was our guy. We would have, Jamison Crowder was here. That's who it is, Frankie. That was our big gun.
Crowder.
There it is. I found it. But it's like, you just look at what our team is, and there's nobody, I don't even think the Jets would be saying that this is, our Super Bowl year. I'm sure we're going to try, but this isn't even done. And you just look at the obvious shift in talent on the offensive side of the ball, particularly wide receiver. And that's without getting to the tight ends like you were just talking about, or even running back. Look at our running back room, dude. It's a totally different thing. We haven't seen a guy with the potential of Breece Hall since Curtis Martin. Like, let's just be real. We all loved Bilal Powell. We all loved Leon. We all loved Sean Green. Like, we love these guys. You know, we rooted for them. They had their upside. They had their benefit. And then some of them even had their impact. But nobody that we've had in here has, you know, I like to use the word, the pedigree of Breece Hall. And I might have said Bryce Hall. Forgive me. I'm going to do that often. Okay.
Well, and I think Jet fans should get used to the guard power. Okay. I have a great feeling that we're going to be running a lot of guard power. And guess who our guards are? Lagan Tomlinson and Elijah Vera Tucker. They're going to be pulling out from each side, different sides. And Breece Hall is going to be following them. And there's going to be pancakes all over the field. That's just how it is. Because Lagan Tomlinson, I've been looking at his tape. You know, that's one of the things that he excels at, getting out in space and knocking people to the ground. And AVT does the same thing. Very athletic, guard power. We're going to run it. And we're going to go outside, and there he goes down the sideline. I mean, that's just what's going to happen because now we have the players who can do that. When you have a GVR, you can't really do that as much. I mean, we did it some with AVT, and we did some, but now we got two, and we could go left, right, center, you name it, we can go there.
Yeah, that's right, man. I mean, Greg Van Roten, not only was he able to pull and do any of these nifty things that good guards can do, he was on skates. He was if you just pick any game, just go back to, go to NFL.com, watch the classic rewind games, and just pick a game and watch the offensive line. You will see within the first 5 minutes, Greg Van Roten being bull rushed backwards into the pocket or directly into Zach Wilson or into the running back. It was constant. Every single game that was happening. Now, he had his share of solid blocks. A broken clock, it's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, he was okay at run blocking, but pass blocking was just a nightmare.
He was a nightmare. So, and then we saw that upgrade as soon as LDT was brought in. We saw immediate. And he wasn't even a world beater. He was
not that good.
He's not that great.
Think about it. PFF put out the top 200 free agents available at the end of the season. Okay. Laken Tomlinson was number 20 on the list. 20th best free agent overall, all positions together out of 200. Guess where LDT was?
74.
Not on the list. Not even in the top 200 free agents. So that's the difference between someone who's between LDT and Laken, and LDT was a massive upgrade over GVR. So think about what we were dealing with GVR.
Yeah. You think about what we were dealing with. And look, and that's in addition to the first few weeks. Really, it took like 6 weeks. The offensive line didn't even know their signals. They didn't even know their assignments. They were lost out there. And then on top of that, they were getting, at least let's stick to Greg Van Roten. He was getting quite literally manhandled. So they were, lost. And then we look at our quarterback, the reason I'm confident in him is because of weathering all that stuff. And through that, he was able to elude so much pressure and then get the ball down the field. And how many drops did he have? So it's like when you look at what we've done with the offensive line, like you said, we went from Greg Van Roten to LDT. That was an upgrade, massive upgrade. LDT isn't even on the list of the top 200 guards. We went all the way up to number 20. Incredible. And what the impact of that, like when you look at the games, like we watch a lot of classic games with the Beanbaggers, dude, when you look at Mark Sanchez or even Fitzpatrick, we watched that 2015 game
there,
dude, he went back into the pocket and had the calm time to scan the field.
It's incredible.
It's like,
and the tight ends, and then you throw the tight ends in there. The tight ends are very important in blocking schemes for people who don't know. They're very, very important. I know GreenBean. Tight ends are super important on a team in general and in blocking schemes and passing, like we talked about. And we also, in addition to being butter hands, they were also bad blockers.
Bad
So
blockers.
in addition, the ends were coming around and beating them. So it was just a rough year. It was a down to the studs rebuild, and that's what it was. And we saw, the results of it. And if we wanted to get into some stats, I don't know if you wanted to get into some stats for Zach Wilson. I have some ready.
Let's
have
do it.
some ready. But because there's been a lot of negative talk about Zach lately, Brady Quinn, and I think Daniel Kelly has an article about Zach, not a believer in Zach Wilson. And I thought it might be useful to look at Zach compared to some of these other quarterbacks and understand why people are saying this. So,
do it.
Because they have an argument. Because here's the thing. Anybody who doesn't want to believe in Zach Wilson has an argument. Why is that? Because he had a terrible year last year. Let me illustrate. There's a stat called average net yards per attempt. Anya, it's called.
Average net yard. All right, everybody, we listening? You don't want to. You want this to slip through your ear holes. Average net yards per attempt.
Per pass attempt. Yeah, it's actually adjusted net yards per pass attempt. Now this is it includes pass. Yeah, adjusted. So it includes passing yards, sack yards, passing TDs, interceptions. So it's sort of an advanced statistic. Okay, it's considered an advanced statistic. You can find it on profootballreference.com. Last year, Zach Wilson's adjusted net yards per pass attempt, which basically tells you every time you tried to pass the ball, on average, how many yards did you gain? And his was 3.86. Now, this is a terrible number.
Right.
Terrible.
Sounds bad.
And so anybody like Brady Quinn or Daniel Kelly or anybody who wants to say they don't believe in Zach Wilson, they could look at this number and go, well, this is horrible. Therefore, he is horrible. Let me give you some examples. Trevor Lawrence, 4.54. So still not good, but better than Zach Wilson. Justin Fields, you could say these are his peers, right? 4.24. So still not good, but Wilson's the worst. Mac Jones, 6.22. So, and we could say Mac Jones had the best year out of all of them, so that makes sense.
Right.
Davis Mills, 5.48. So out of his peer group, he was clearly the worst in this category. And we all know the caveats, the drops, the bad offensive line. Greg Knapp died. He was the only one who had a coach die. That happened.
Yeah.
Like that happened. Greg Knapp died. That happened. It's not an excuse. It's a real thing that happened.
It's real. Yeah.
So we, the Jet fans, know the context. But I'm just saying, anybody who looks at this kind of thing will look at that and say, look at him even compared to his peers, even compared to Lawrence and Fields and Jones and Mills. It's still terrible. Because then you look at, okay, well, what's a really good Anya? Well, look at the guy who led the league last year was Aaron Rodgers, and that's an 8 yards. So Aaron Rodgers is 8. Tom Brady is 7.41. So good is anywhere in the 7, 8, 8.5, 7.5 range. Between 7 and 8.5 is like really good for an Anya. And Zach Wilson was at 3.86. That stinks. That's terrible. And so anybody who's just looking at the stats and they don't want to watch the games, I'm pretty sure that Brady Quinn didn't watch the all 22 footage of all 17 games of us last year.
Guaranteed.
How can you blame him? We stunk. I mean, what is he going to do? Sit there and watch terrible football all day long? So, this is why people are saying these things. And so Jet fans understand, anybody looking at the statistical output for last year, just on its face, is going to say, boy, this Zach Wilson guy stinks.
Sucks. Right.
Yeah. Because you have to understand the context of this to really have faith and optimism, which we do. We have looked at the tape. We also know about the drops and all of that. If somebody drops a pass, guess how many yards you're getting on that pass attempt? 0.
That's right.
And he had the most. I mean, that's also a stat. 13% of his catchable passes were dropped. That led the league by far. Nobody even close. And all those times they were dropping it, he was getting a 0 in this category. Why can't we put this on Tyler Kroft's stat sheet? Yeah,
it's a funny thing, man. The quarterback gets that, all falls back on him. And when you look at, if you go even a little bit deeper, there was a stat. Now I don't remember where it was, but I believe it was 3 of his interceptions actually hit his receiver's hands first. So the pass made it. So when you look at, look, and then he had all the touchdowns, I dropped and all that sort of stuff. When you just look at that, the touchdowns versus interceptions, he had 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. If you just take, if the receivers just caught them, and I know we're digging into this hole, and I know, I get it. But it's when you just look at that, 3 of the interceptions hit his receivers' hands first. So they had the chance to catch it before they popped up and went to the other team. He's got 9 touchdowns and 8 picks. Now, either way, it's not a very exciting year, 9 touchdowns and the whole thing. Like Frankie's saying, when you look at it and be realistic, he didn't light anybody on fire last year. At the same time, it's nowhere near as bad when you add the context to the story, which is look, when we're doing the games and I do my weekly podcast, I have a segment called the reality score. It's we're going to look at the box score and say, what does the box score tell us? The box score says this, this, and this. But we're going to add the context and you're going to see it's a totally different story sometimes. Now, it sucks that as Jets fans, we got to do that a lot. Maybe we can get past that shit and just start winning. You know what I mean? That'd be really great. If we just start winning, imagine our quarterback actually throws more than, let's say, 25 touchdowns. We haven't seen that. And I don't even know when, dude. I mean, we had Fitzpatrick. He threw 31. That is the most we've ever seen in a season. 31 touchdowns.
I mean, in the past 11 seasons, we've had an above average offense one time.
Yeah.
In the past 11 seasons. And during those 11 seasons, what was happening? Twitter, Facebook, PFF, these things that didn't exist when the Bills were bad. We chose the decade to be terrible when you could go on social media and rub it in our faces all day long on Twitter, Facebook, all the social media. PFF is coming along. People are looking at stats more, and even Pro Football Reference is coming along. That's the decade when we decide to stink it up.
Yeah, right. It's a funny thing when you look at that side of the story as well. It's right when our trends versus the NFL trends, we tend to be off. You know what I mean? We're focused on, for an example, we really zeroed in on defensive tackle while the rest of the league is on wide receivers and cornerbacks. We're we're going to stop this run. There's an interesting illusionary stat that we get a lot. And you guys will know it as soon as I say it. How often have you heard over the past 10 years the Jets have a top 5 run defense in the NFL, right? How often do we hear that? It's all the time. And the reason, yes, it's great. Fucking fine. But the reason is because they're throwing for over 400 yards on us. They don't have to. Why run it? They're just tossing it down the field, having a blast. You know what I mean? So it's it's one of those things. Now, I want to get there's a couple comments that I saw. One is, we're talking, some guy says some of those drops were rockets Zach threw at receivers' legs from a few yards away. Well, that's not what we're talking about. But
we're talking about catchable passes.
Yeah.
So, but he's right. Some guy is right. He made a lot of bad passes too. That's also in there. You know who else makes bad passes? Every quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
And college and high school. So yes, he needs to stop throwing dirt balls. Yep. He needs to stop throwing it 10 feet over Denzel's head. Yes, sir. For sure. But we're talking about catchable passes. So it's the percentage of catchable passes that were dropped he led the league. But he also needs to stop throwing dirt balls and stop throwing it over people's heads. He does, no doubt about it.
Totally. I mean, there was that stretch where we worried, right before Mike White came in. Remember, the big deal was take what the defense gives you. All Mike White did was dump it off, and he got 400 yards that way. And then Zach came back in, and he was able to do that a little bit more. But before that, there was a 2 or 3 game stretch where Zach Wilson couldn't complete a screen. Okay. He couldn't do it. Yeah. He was overthinking and all that. It was so apparent when he got injured, he was able to, remove himself and everything. But so that happened too. Right. And believe me, whenever we do this kind of stuff, at least from my side, I'm never trying to say that what you saw wasn't real. But when you look at the numbers that people collect afterwards, it's not always the full story. And when you want to buy in or not buy into a quarterback, a young quarterback like Zach Wilson, when I look at the whole picture, I see more than enough progress and overcoming things and reasons why things went the way they went for me to feel confident that with an offensive line and with receivers that don't drop the ball, that we could have something here. The guy, he's got everything that you want in a quarterback, even down to the work ethic. I mean, he's got all that you want. Now we just got to see him put it together. But the other comment, I see there's a discussion going on about Corey Davis, and I just want to put something to rest, if I may. I've seen this stat a lot, maybe the last week, 2 weeks. Corey Davis was on pace for 1,000-yard season. Okay. I want to just tell that may be true, but what really happened was Corey Davis had 34 receptions for 492 yards. So on pace, that's the kind of stuff you apply when he misses a game. When he misses 2 games, you say, shit, man, he played 15 games. He was on pace for this. And that's okay. When you're talking about 7 games or fucking 508 yards, you can't, on pace for doesn't get you that far in my book. So Corey Davis, I have confidence in Corey Davis. He's never going to be the 5th overall pick that he was. He's never going to be that guy, which is a bummer. But he can be a very, very solid piece of the offense. Zach trusts him for some reason, and he had a bad year like everybody else. That's fine. I think Corey Davis can be a very valuable part of the offense. He's got the talent. It's there. But let's not try to make him something that he isn't. This on pace for 1,000 yards argument, again, we're not talking about 800 yards. He had 492 yards on 34 receptions. He also had, I think it was 6 drops. I might have that number wrong. I might be confusing that with Ty Johnson at 7.
Ty Johnson probably had 100.
Yeah. Ty Johnson had I think it was 7 drops and 4 were on 3rd down.
Yeah. 4. But let me say this about Corey. So all I want Corey to do is just go back to the way he was catching the ball. So last year he had a drop percentage of 8.5%, a career high. The year before he was at 3.3%. Just go back to 3.3, Corey. Just go back. Just don't be at 8.5. Just catch the ball when we throw it to you, Corey. That's all. I'm not somebody who really cares about yards too much.
Right.
I mean, yards will take care of themselves. I mean, yards matter, but they'll just catch the damn thing. Catch the ball.
Yeah, that's the key. And look, the truth is that if that happens, if we catch the passes that are thrown, we're gonna win games.
It all rolls from there. That's why I keep talking about completion percentage being the one stat you have to look at for Zach Wilson. If he's around 65, that means we're catching the ball. He's not dirt balling it and throwing it over people's heads and all that. And it around 65 for him, and we're going to be good to go. That's it. One number, because all the dominoes start to fall in place then.
That's right. And like when we look at stuff, last year there were so many layers to what our problems were, right? Like I don't even like to put my finger on one, because like Frankie said, we literally had the only veteran offensive coach that we had on the team, in a position of leadership, and he died. The head coach was a rookie, and he made the rookie mistakes. Remember the not calling a timeout or getting a delay of game on a 4th and 1. I mean, dude, but that shit's going to happen.
Yeah, and we had New Jersey contractors robbing him too, which I don't understand. By the way, I don't understand. Where's Woody Johnson?
I know.
You know what I'm saying? There's New Jersey contractors robbing our head coach with his house. He's trying to get situated in New Jersey. And where's Woody Johnson? He can't pull any strings.
That's what I'm saying. I said the same thing, Frankie. Where's the big guy that Woody sends over?
Right.
Goes, you the contractor? Grab him by his shin and say, this is going to stop right now. Do you understand?
Yeah, you send the Sopranos in. What the hell are you doing?
Right. What the fuck? We have no connections anymore.
Yeah,
we're the Jets.
What the hell's going on? And so we had that going on too. A rookie head coach, who's getting robbed when he tries to go home to his house. Crazy.
I found out that was happening like late in the game. Like it was already going on for months. By the time I found out, I'm like, really? His family had him staying in like a hotel.
Yeah.
It's like, what was all that?
And he's got a big family. He's got a lot of little kids.
Lots of kids.
What the hell's going on with our owner? You would think that's something our owner could step in and do something about. But anyway.
Yeah, but I think so.
but all that being said, this year Joe Douglas, took care of the roster. The coaching staff is here now in place for year 2. So let's go. Let's go.
Another thing I want to talk about tonight, and this is interesting. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you in a little bit, we're just going to lean on you guys. I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask a bunch of questions and we'll try to get it. Everybody, including Jets Forever. I know he's got some questions. He really respects our opinion and he really wants to hear what we have to say. But I want to talk about something. One is I got a sponsor, so I'm gonna let you guys know. I brought him up a couple weeks in a row now, and I'm really excited about. I'm loving my experience with this company, and the link is in the top of the description for these games that I play on the Versus app. Now, it's funny. I'm doing a lot of NBA basketball, but this is all in preparation for. I can't wait to do training camp games. Who's cut? Who's staying? Who this? Who that? I can't wait to do that with you guys, and we're right around the corner. But right now, on a pretty much a daily basis, I'm putting these questions out there on the Versus app about is Luka Doncic gonna score 40 points, or Steph Curry, or any of these guys. Dude, I'm getting hundreds of people playing these games, and it's just getting started. I think it's just so cool. The truth is, you don't even have to pay money. You can just get in on this and see how right or wrong you are. You want to see how accurate your opinions are. A lot of $100 on if somebody's going to score 30 points or not, and then somebody else out there goes, "Yeah, I'll take that bet." And it's just, I don't know. I think it's the coolest thing. This is like what I used to do with my friends, Frankie. I would be like, "Hey, man, I'll bet you $10 that Breece Hall scores a touchdown in the first quarter." There's those kinds of things. And so I wanted to let you guys know about it. It's Versus app. The link to this game is in the description. But I want to let you know that even if you miss this game, I'm putting a game up there every single day. My name is GreenBean on there, oddly enough. And it would be great if you guys could jump on there. Let me know it's you too. I don't know, everybody's got weird names. The same guys on YouTube. They're Harry on YouTube, but they're Ed on Versus. And then you go on Twitter and they're Frank the Tank. It's I don't know how to keep up. Oh, dude, that's me. I'm like, well, why do you have 7 names? I can't keep up, man. But anyway, it's Versus app. The link to the game is in the description of this video. But even if you don't play this game, go in there, join the app. It's a blast, man. I'm even playing other games. I don't know. I love it. I think it's so cool. So Versus app, get in there. And even if you get a little gutsy, you can win yourself some cash if you think there's a really good bet, man. Of course he's going to throw a touchdown or whatever. Bet. It's not a bet, but play. So anyway, thank you. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about, Frankie, is this is interesting. Now, we have talked about Dr. Deweese many times and his staff. So Joe Douglas, as we know, gutted the entire medical staff, from the trainer to the nutritionist to the medical supervisor to the rehab department and everything. And that last year, I made a couple of videos about it. I was really excited about it. And when we had all these injuries, I would get a lot of DMs, Frankie, "Hey, what happened to your vaunted medical team, Bean? Hey, what happened? How come we're still getting injured?" And the thing that we have to remember is that they were rookies last year too. So they're fresh, starting a whole new system, right? Now we're waiting until their first offseason to see how the players and see how it impacts. So let's see if, the injuries get mitigated a little bit this year. But the first one that we can really look at, Frankie, is Zach Wilson. When he showed up back to camp, he clearly looked bigger. His chest was more defined. His shoulders are a little bit firmer. You could just see it. He looks stronger. Zach Wilson said he played at 208 last year, and he's 221 right now. And he credits it. This is what he said. "This is the first year that I've put as this much emphasis on the nutritional side." They literally asked him, and I know what they're fishing for, these beat writers. They asked him, "Is this your own nutritionist, or is this something that the team did?" And he said, "It was created by Nikki, the team nutritionist I work with." So we're getting to see it, Frankie. My hope is that in a year, 2 years, where, we have this great medical staff, it's probably not going to get there this year, but the first piece of data that we have is Zach Wilson crediting the nutritional staff. Were you able to catch that? What do you think about this? Are you as excited as I am? I'm like pumped about. I want to see the friggin' injuries go away, man.
Well, that is fantastic news. And I think so. Here's my question to you, GreenBean. How should we track this? So last year, I kept track of all the injuries, and we had an average number of injuries. We weren't worse than any other team. We weren't better. We'd like to be on the better side. As an example, Buffalo Bills fans should be a little bit worried, even though they have one of the best rosters in the league. But last year, they had one of the best rosters in the league, and they also had the fewest injuries by far of any team, more than one standard deviation away from the mean. And they still didn't win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Now I would, so you could say, wait a minute, what's the chances they're going to have that kind of luck this year? Now, I'd prefer nobody gets hurt ever. I don't want any injuries to anyone, ever on any team. But the fact of the matter is that this is football and there are going to be injuries. So my question to you, GreenBean, how should I measure this year? I felt like keeping track of the number of injuries per week, which is how I was doing it, and comparing to the rest of the league was interesting. The number didn't move around much.
No.
So it was kind of like after a while, I was like, well, I'm not seeing any big progress here. So, I mean, one of the things you could look at is, injuries to a very important player. So somebody who's making a lot of money. That's the way Joe Douglas looked at it. Like we lost a huge percentage of our cap to
our cap. Right.
Yeah,
right.
To the list. Carl Lawson went down and, everybody else, Mackay, although he's not. Well, he's he's a little expensive, but so that's another thing you could look at. But to me, that's sort of random. Like everybody gets the same medical care. It's not like we give the high priced people the real medical care and then everybody else gets.
Well, might. You might get an extra session with the doctor each week.
You get the real shakes. Okay, the high price,
right?
The $10 million people shakes are over here. Everybody else shakes are over here.
Right. Undrafted free agents, your shakes are over there.
Your shakes are in the water fountain.
That's right. Well, like you ask, how do you measure it? I think that it's going to be difficult. But I think one of the things to look at is playing weights. Like, so when you got guys that are a little bit small, like Zach Wilson said that the reason that he wants to bulk up is specifically so he could absorb hits.
Yeah.
That's not to, obviously, he was inspired to be concerned about that by what happened to him last year.
That's one word to use.
but that's what he's saying. He said, look, and he went in some great detail. It's really a great interview. If you guys didn't hear it, Zach seemed, it was just, I don't know. He seemed really loose and he was very forthcoming with things. And he said that, the trick is to gain weight before training camp. You want to put on as much healthy weight as you can before training camp, because invariably as the season progresses and the workouts get harder and everything, you lose weight. So you don't want to lose weight and be small. You know what I mean? You don't want to be light. You want to, be able to be at your playing weight when it's time to play. So, but this is the interesting thing about our medical staff. Now, you would think that every team has player specific protocols, but the truth is that they don't. Of course, they'll deal with a specific injury if it happens and all that, but they give everybody the same basic regimen. What Dr. DeWeese is doing is he's creating entire protocols around each player. So what is their body type like? What is their metabolism? All those kinds of things, so they can give them the proper nutrition, training, rehab, and all that sort of stuff that only applies to them. And that's why it might take a little time, but that's what Zach Wilson was saying. He was told to focus on the nutrition by the Jets staff. And then he went and got a chef on the outside, but he was following their directions, our staff. And he said the name Nikki in particular, we got to look into her, Frankie, and see what's up with this Nikki, the nutritionist.
I'm sure she's the nutritionist. Every team has a nutritionist.
Yeah.
But yeah, and these guys, they drink shakes all the time. They have to drink shakes to maintain because you can't be eating that much, food. So they do a lot of shakes. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see if we get any results. I mean, I think I'll keep track of number of injuries again on a week by week basis to see if we could have a year like the Bills did last year. But other than that, I don't know. I'm still not sure how I could do it where it's just not random luck,
Yeah. Turnaround time might be interesting too. Like, so if they get an injury, turf toe, just as an example, we know about how long it takes for turf toe to come back, maybe seeing if the process is accelerated or elongated one way or the other. That might be something else to consider. Real quick, Adam S, you asked a question about verses, and just to tell you, the way that it happens is, so like you see a question that you want to answer. So mine was, is Luka Doncic going to score 40 points against the Warriors? So you say yes, and you want to put $10 down to say yes. They will find somebody else that wants to put $10 on no. So yes, you play against other people, but they set you up with people that want to bet the exact same, or not bet, but they want to, put the same amount of money up to answer the question the opposite way. So that's how it goes. As far as the percentage that they keep, I gotta tell you, I'm really not sure. I'm ignorant to that. But it's a good question. I'm actually going to look into that. I don't know. I imagine any app is going to get their little percentage, like YouTube does. Everybody does it. So I imagine that there's something like that for them as well. But I don't know what the percentage is. But yeah, man, good question. And that's the cool thing about it, is that you get to play other people. So that's what I like. Anyway, you're not like playing the house. You're not playing Vegas. You're playing me. That's the thing I think is so cool about it. But yeah, thanks for asking. Jets Forever says W Nikki, so he likes her. He likes this Nikki. Nikki is not trash from Jets Forever, not yet anyway. Not yet anyway. Wait till something happens. Jets Forever ain't gonna like her. But yeah, so when you talk about the nutrition and the training, I mean, look, guys, we have been on the wrong side of this one for a long time. For like 4 years in a row, we were among the most injured teams in the NFL. 2019 and 2020, the Gase years, we were the number one IR team. We had the most players on IR with those 2 years collectively. And how the hell can you possibly win if that's what's going on? And like you said, Frankie, Joe Douglas is saying, look, I spent X amount of my cap dollars on guys that aren't playing. That's another way to look at it. This is not okay. So I like that he at least put forth the effort, man. He didn't just, rearrange the chairs on the Titanic and say, all right, I'll get a new trainer or whatever. He gutted it and rebuilt the whole thing from scratch. And I think that's got to be commended, and hopefully it sticks, because if that happens too, like, look, we start building the team, we added more wide receivers, we got a better running back, like we upped the talent of the team, the depth of the team. Imagine on top of that, Frankie, if our medical staff and training and everything are able to keep injuries out of the picture, like some of the teams like the Bills last year. Can you imagine if that happens too, as a derivative of what Joe Douglas did?
I mean, it's a hell of an advantage that you get, because they say that the NFL season is a war of attrition. And, at any given day, I mean, if Josh Allen goes down, how good are the Bills all of a sudden? So
that's right.
Things like that. So, and I think some of the players also said about Coach Saleh, this guy, he also leads by example. He comes in first thing, he's in early, and guess what he's doing? He's working out like a madman. Yep. He's also like a workout fiend himself. So he's not. So in other words, he needs to know about recovery and all that kind of thing for his own body, for his own self, and then he applies that knowledge, to the players as well. So I think it works well together, and I think it's just another example of how how Joe Douglas and his staff and Saleh and his staff are now finally working together, and I think that's also something that we should be happy and proud about. At least unless they keep losing, and then forget it.
Yeah, and then it's all for nothing, and Saleh's the worst coach, and he gets fired mid-season for finding out that he's running a prostitution ring, or you know what I mean? Like, it's dude. There's so much that can happen. But look, the good news is that you can see, like, just from the naked eye, if you spend a moment and look at the Jets, they are not the same Jets as they were just 2 years ago. Under Adam Gase, it's a completely different vibe. It's a completely different, like, look at the guys we were paying, how much we were paying, from all that stuff, all the way down to, sniffing, smelling salt on the sideline, and just all the stuff that we had going on. Jamal Adams, chitty chatting away, just everything. It's a totally different vibe. And for that alone, we got a shot. It's different. So the results can very realistically be different. Now, speaking of results, though, Frankie, week 1 against the Ravens, you've had some time now to think about this. You know, we saw the schedule, we went over everything, we chatted, and then you sit alone, you look at some tapes, you listen to some guys, and you think, realistically, where you stand today, you think we're going to be able to come out and beat a juggernaut like the Ravens week 1?
I do. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they're a juggernaut. I think, when was the last time they won anything?
That's
10
right.
years ago. So I understand they're a model franchise and they're always in the playoffs and they're much better than we've been. And there's no doubt about that. And they have an elite quarterback in Lamar Jackson. So there's no doubt about that. That's always a problem. But I think if we're healthy, I think we can, if we're healthy and Zach is improved, I think we can compete with anyone. I think we can compete with them. I don't think they have a juggernaut roster. They have Lamar Jackson and he's an elite quarterback. And when you have an elite quarterback, you can beat anyone on any given day. So there's that. And, they always have a good defense. But they are going to have a new defensive coordinator. We don't know how that guy's going to do as opposed to Wink Martindale, who's sort of a legendary DC. So we don't know about that. We also don't know, are the Jets going to do the cover 0 plan against Lamar? I'm curious to see that. And if we do,
curious.
Yeah. And if we do, how's that going to work out? Did they learn from that, or did they adjust? Maybe we try that and he's like, I figured it out. Boom. Touchdown to whatever receiver they have these days. Rashad Bateman, I guess.
Yeah, Bateman and Duvernay. Yeah.
Duvernay. Yeah. So the guys that don't really scare you that much. Mark Andrews, he scares you.
No, he's legit. He's legit. Right. Well, it was funny. Somebody asked recently, like, who's going to, I think it was on the Tuesday Night Talking Jets panel. Somebody said, who on our team can realistically cover Rashad Bateman? And I'm like, Rashad Bateman had 400. Rashad Bateman is not the issue. I mean, I like Rashad Bateman.
He's not Tyreek Hill, though.
Yeah, he's not Tyreek Hill. And he's also not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, if he's on, can literally beat you by himself. That's how ridiculous he can be. But I got to say, and not that I'm rooting for it or anything, but I got to say, it's starting to look to me like, we'll see how this year goes, but Lamar Jackson just might have the, fall victim to what every running quarterback really falls victim to, just about. And that's their career gets shortened because they do depend on themselves too much. They have to do this and that and run around and they get injured. And so I don't know, man. Look, they had 8 wins last year. They were among the tops in injuries too, to key players. Yeah. There was a couple of weeks where they were on like their 5th quarterback and all that jazz. So there's obviously reasons for it. But, look, like you said, there's a lot that changed for Baltimore. And if Lamar Jackson isn't 100% and on fire, they might be looking at some difficulties this year that they're not used to. We know they're well coached. We know they're well run. So all that's not an issue. But you brought up a good point. They lost some coaching in addition to some players.
And what the hell's going on with Lamar's contract? I mean, here's a guy. The team's like, please, Lamar, would you please come in? We'd like to negotiate with you. We'd like to give you millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, please. And he's like, nah, I'll hang out over here. Well, what? What the heck's going on? You have Kyler Murray over there begging for a contract. Like, I'm not going anywhere till you give me a new contract, which is the norm, sort of. And then you have Lamar going, whatever, I'll play. That doesn't matter to me. What with that? What is going on there? That's a strange one. Like, the team wants to sign him to a long-term deal, and he's like, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. What?
Yeah.
And what kind of pressure does that put on him? I mean, why is he risking injury? It's weird, especially being a running quarterback, like you said. He's risking injury every game he plays. Now without signing a new deal, he's taking a hell of a risk. Why would you do that when the team wants to sign you to a long-term deal? It's perplexing. I don't get that one. And
that is interesting.
How's that going to affect his mindset? Maybe. I mean, who knows what's going on with that? It's just a question. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe he's just cool as a cucumber. I don't care. I got my money. I don't know. But it's just strange.
Well, if he's anything like Quinnen Williams, did you hear his comments this week? They asked him about his contract, and he said,
but he's going to get his money, and we're not exactly knocking down Quinnen's door. And I think his agent is Nicole Lynn. We're not knocking on Nicole's door, going, let's give him $100 million just yet. We might, but we'd like to see another season, I think. But with Lamar, this is the last year, I think, and then they'd have to franchise him, I guess. But franchising a quarterback is pretty expensive, and again, why is he gonna risk it? I mean, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and that could be an impactful thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't know if he'll hold out. I mean, he's there now, but who knows if when training camp starts, if he doesn't get a contract, maybe he does. That would be interesting too. I know that's the kind of guy. I mean, whatever you got to pay him. You have to pay him. He's the franchise.
But they want to pay him. That's the thing. It's like, but his agent must want to get paid. So in other words, whatever's going on with him, the agent wants him to go negotiate. The team wants him to negotiate. So what's going on with his mindset? And maybe, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I know sometimes teams, I feel like they get caught in, they get like lost in the sauce. They get caught in the weeds, and it's just, I don't know, man. You gotta be able to get your priorities in order. Now the Ravens, I mean, who are we talking about? They've been able to do it. So I don't think they're going to flub it. At the same time, the last time they paid a quarterback, you remember this, they won the Super Bowl. They paid Flacco a whole bunch of money and they fell off a cliff. They had to lose some guys because of the contract, namely Anquan Bolden. They ended up losing him. I think they I don't know exactly reasons, but it was right on the heels of the Flacco contract. And it didn't really turn out all that well. So they might be a little bit apprehensive. Who knows? Who knows? That'll be interesting to keep an eye on. I see a comment. Nolan is saying, Nolan D, what's up, buddy? He says, Bateman had similar numbers to Elijah Moore. You guys have much different takes on each player. What's that? I mean, who compared him to Elijah Moore? I mean, who said that? We can be excited about a Jets player and hate on another player. I mean, I don't know what that. I mean, we're getting stuck. That's semantics, Nolan. I think that's semantics. I mean, when we're talking about who, do you think Ravens fans, for example, are looking at Elijah Moore and are terrified of him? They're not. They're not. Why would they be? He got 500 and change yards, guys. He didn't light up the league. Now, we saw the talent, so we're excited about him. But again, Rashad Bateman, I loved Rashad Bateman coming out. I think he's a very, very good receiver, but he's not the guy keeping me up at night. If I'm the coach of the Jets, you gotta account for him, of course. But I don't think it's, dude, whatever happened. Let me ask you, Frankie, whatever happened with being able to say the guy in the opposite team, you suck. He sucks. Why can't we say that anymore without somebody kind of dragging out this? What happened to us? What happened to us as fans? Can't we just say, screw Rashad Bateman? He sucks. Why can't I say that anymore?
You can say that. I mean, nobody thinks Rashad Bateman sucks. I mean, he's a fine receiver. Right.
Well, I could say it if I want.
You can say it if you want, but he's a good receiver. I don't think anybody would. I don't think anybody would dispute the fact that Rashad Bateman's a good receiver.
Right, and I don't think anybody was, Nolan. No. Says he just all right. So he says Bateman. This is what I read here. Bateman is a sore spot for me. So stop touching me in my sore spot. Is that what it is? And I get it. I have those too.
But I think, in comparing the two players, probably Rashad Bateman is going to wind up to be a very nice player. Elijah Moore has the potential to be an excellent, excellent player. I think that's what people see, the upside of Elijah Moore, probably more. But Rashad Bateman's a very fine player. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody was saying one side or the other that he, and I'll say this, fuck Rashad Bateman. How's that, Nolan? And again, I don't root for players on other teams. I know in this era of fantasy football, I know people have like favorite players. I don't roll that way. That's just me. I'm not saying I'm right. I don't roll that way. I dislike every player. I can see talent. I know who's good and who's not, but I don't have to like anybody. And I'm going to tell you this, week 1, those are the guys we're playing. Bet your ass on it. I am rooting against every single one of them. I want them all to suck. I want it to be the worst game. I want it to be so bad that the following week, all the ESPN talking heads and everybody, they point out that clearly something was wrong with the Ravens for the Jets to lay such a shellacking on them like that. I want it to be that bad. I want everybody to think that it was the Ravens' fault that we won. That's what I want. I don't care. I just want to beat their asses. And I hope Rashad Bateman gets 1 yard. That's what I want him to get, Frankie. 1 catch, 1 yard. What do you think?
Well, yeah, of course, because we could take him out of the game, in various ways. But he's a very good player. There's no doubt about it. Even reception perception likes him. I'm just looking him up here. So,
Frankie, I found it. I found the reasoning for the gripe. Fantasy football. See,
yeah. It's almost always fantasy. But Mark Andrews is one of the top tight ends in the league. There's no doubt about that.
Can't take that away. I still hate him. How's that? I don't care. But yeah, it's a weird era, man. That's for a guy like me, I'm a Jets fan. I remember going to games like outside of Yankee Stadium, and there were dozens of T-shirt stands. Boston sucks, all that. Like, that's the era I come up with. Like, we're Yankees fans, we're Jets fans, we're whatever, and we hate the other team. You're not rooting for injury. It's not like that. But nowadays with the fantasy and everything's kind of interwoven. Like, can you imagine, or for me, I know you guys do it, but I can't literally imagine rooting for the Jets to win, but having 2 guys that are on my team, fantasy, so I'm hoping the Jets win, but I still want, as an example, Rashad Bateman to get 500 yards. Like, I can't. There's no way that can't fit in my limited capacity. I can't do it. I don't know how you guys do. It seems all ass backwards to me. I don't understand. And it fucking freaks me out a little bit. It spooks me. I don't like it. I don't know how you guys do it.
Let me do a little comparison of Rashad Bateman versus Elijah Moore. And they're closer than I thought they would be. Against man coverage, Rashad Bateman gets open in the 74th percentile of wide receivers, so that's very good. Elijah Moore, 81st percentile, so that's even better against man coverage. Against zone coverage, Bateman is in the 85th percentile. That's excellent. Elijah Moore is in the 76th percentile, so he beats him there. Against press, that's usually man press, Rashad Bateman, 81st percentile, and Elijah only 70th percentile. So Bateman's solid. They did have about the same amount of yards last year, but yards are important in fantasy. But I like to look at some of this more advanced stuff to see who's getting open, because Elijah can get open all day long. If Zach can't get him the ball, he's not going to gain any yards. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
doesn't do anything. That's the whole thing with how important a quarterback is. You could have the best wide receivers and tight ends. If the quarterback sucks, they do nothing.
Yeah,
they do nothing. But yeah, so Jets chaos with Jeremy checking in with an interesting question. Thanks, Jeremy. He says, will Joyner get beat out as a starter? If so, by who? So LaMarcus Joyner, the safety, which I got to admit, I was a little surprised that they even brought him back. I thought it was just a failed experiment and was going to drift off into the past. What do you think? Is Joyner penciled in, or not even penciled, but is he written in as our starter, and he's going to be locked in there? Or do you think somebody's got a chance to beat him out?
As reported by David Wyatt Hupton, breaking news about the free safety position. Breaking news as reported by David Wyatt Hupton in his latest Jets Way newsletter. In fact, Jason Pinnock from the University of Pittsburgh is getting starter reps in OTAs as of right now, as reported by David Wyatt Hupton. So I would have to say, as of right now, yeah. And it's Jason Pinnock, personal favorite of mine.
That's right. So Frankie's a Pinnock head. So look at that. So they're giving Pinnock every opportunity to be the starter. Now it's OTAs, so you don't know.
Still early. Got to see.
Maybe LaMarcus Joyner, maybe his ankle.
Screw it up. Right. Pinnock could totally screw it up, and then Joyner's there, and they say, "Okay, LaMarcus, we know you're okay, so you'll go." It's sort of like a backup. But I would love to have LaMarcus Joyner as the backup. I mean, because if Pinnock his quality is better than LaMarcus, that's an upgrade. And then you still have LaMarcus to be the backup in case anything goes wrong. And then Will Parks is the third stringer, and then that's perfect for a third stringer. I would love for Jason to beat him out. That would be fantastic.
I think that would be excellent as well. I mean, who couldn't be rooting for one of our young guys?
Right. A fifth rounder, no less. Yeah.
Who wouldn't be rooting for one of those guys to turn out to be one of our successful and impactful starters. I mean, that's what we're all rooting for. And if that happens, if Pinnock ends up being a starting free safety, and we still got Eccles and Michael Carter, and who knows what Jonathan Marshall is going to be. I think he'll get more of an opportunity this year to make an impact as well. But look at the back end of that draft. After the front end is Zach, AVT, Elijah Moore, and Michael Carter. That's a hell of a draft, man. And look, and that back end, that confused a lot of us when it was happening, especially because some of the players, we didn't even know who they were. And then they were calling them all safeties. They said 3 times in a row. I'm like, what is going on? So it would be fantastic. And I'm telling you what, I'm rooting for it. I really am. And like Frankie said, to have Joyner as a backup, that would be fantastic, man, because we do have a pretty good idea that he can be a starter in the league. So
yeah, man, be okay. So yeah, so if somebody beats him out, that means we're getting an upgrade there. That'd be fantastic.
So Braden wants us to know real quick that prostitution is legal in New Zealand. They pay taxes and everything.
I'm still not going there, Braden. I'm still not coming to New Zealand.
We can't get Frankie to a Jets game, Braden.
Yeah, forget about New Zealand. No offense, Braden. Braden, of course, is my managing editor. Thank you, Braden.
There you go. Braden, a beanbagger from NZL, as he said it there, New Zealand. That's one of my bucket list places, Braden. Now, he knows that, though. I've told him. But yeah, man, and that's the way it is in, I believe, in Nevada. They pay taxes and stuff. So we have one of those places, not the whole country, though. But I have more questions, Braden, but I won't do them now. I'll get you later. I got more questions.
Do them in the private group.
Right, exactly. On Discord. Dom C checking in. Hey, Dom C's here, everybody. Thanks, Dom. He says, GreenBean's wife, Queen Bean, is a Ravens fan, so I guess he'll be sleeping on the couch week 1. If that is what it takes, I'll mail you a comfy pillow. Well, thank you. Here's what I've worked out, though.
There's a whole plan.
I've worked this out. Now, in 2 weeks, we go move into our house. So there's that. So I'm no longer in an RV. As in 2 weeks, I bought a house with 5.5 acres and the whole thing. So we'll do that. But here's how I worked it out. I will be in New Jersey the entire week before the game with my daughter. My son's my son's going with my wife. So we are going to be separated, Dom. We've been married a long time, man. We know how to do this. You know what I mean? So we know. But she's going to be down here in Virginia. I'm going to be up there in New Jersey. And Frankie, I guess I have a little bit of an announcement inspired by Dom C's comment here. I want to let everybody know the actual venue has not been nailed down yet, but that week, probably the Friday or Saturday night before the game, I will be performing in my first comedy show in 15 years. Now, I'm doing that. Yeah. So I'm doing that because I know a lot of, like, if I think about it often, I should do a show. But this is perfect for me because I know a lot of people are coming in for the Jets game. And I figure if you're coming in from New Zealand, let's say, Braden, maybe you're flying in, I might, you know what, wouldn't it be cool if we could give you a whole bunch of fun, like kind of jet-centric stuff to do the whole weekend? So I'm going to do that. I'll let you guys know when when the venue's ironed out. I'll be opening up. I'll probably do maybe a 20-minute set opening for our good buddy, another Jets fan, Joe the Comic. So I'll let you guys know. But yeah, Frankie, I'm inspired. So that's like one of the excuses. I got to go up for the whole week, so I don't just go up for the game. I got all this other stuff planned. One of them being my first comedy show. And we're going to live stream it too. I don't know how I'm going to do. I could bomb, but I'm going to put it out there for you guys. We're just going to go in hard and you guys could all either come to the show or you can watch me online. So there you go. Won't that be fun, Frankie?
Well, let me ask you this. Are they all Jets jokes?
Oh, no, they can't be. I'll have some, but I have to talk about my penis at least for a little while.
You don't have to. I mean, it's not by law. It's not a legal requirement. But, if you had a bunch of Jets jokes, you might be able to get folks in this chat room up to the club a little easier.
Yeah.
These people, they want Jet jokes.
I will definitely have some Jets jokes. Definitely. I don't think it won't be a Jets act, but it'll be Jets jokes for sure.
That'd be
What's
funny.
up with these casinos, these porn casinos? We got to get them out of here. There they go. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, thanks, Tom. But hey, you can send me a pillow anyway. I'm always looking for a new pillow, buddy. Always. I destroy pillows, man. I'm a folder. I ruin pillows. So I'm ready. Just don't send my pillow. That's all I ask. I don't like that guy. So, all right. What else we got here? Let's get into some questions. Well, thank you, Dom. Let's see. I saw a couple ones in here. Eminon says in Thailand, you have to be careful. So there you go. Thank you, Eminon. That is good. That is good information. Let's see. Let me look at here.
I heard that it's really nice in Bangkok. That's what I've heard.
I've heard that.
One night in Bangkok and your whole life changes.
So somebody before said this. I think it's a good question. Forgive me. I forget who wrote this. It might have been Owen. It might have been Stephen Engel. Forgive me. They said, who gets their first interception this year, Sauce Gardner or Kyle Hamilton? Interestingly enough, they're playing each other. So, Frankie, we know what side we're rooting for, but what do you think, Sauce or Kyle Hamilton?
Well, based on limited information, I'd have to go with Sauce, because I'll go with Saucy because he's starting for sure. We know that. We don't even know if Kyle Hamilton's going to start on their team. So he might be on the bench.
He might be on the bench. And let me tell you this. You guys know I talked about Kyle Hamilton a time or two pre-draft. I am no longer a fan of Kyle Hamilton. I want you to know I don't like him.
You're not a fan of a lot of people who got drafted, GreenBean, except the ones drafted by the green and white.
There's only 7 guys in the whole draft that are in my book of favor. That's
even
it.
The tight ends that we didn't take.
Oh, I hate him.
You hate Charlie Kolar now?
Oh my God, he's the worst. Fuck that guy. Yeah, man.
He's on the Ravens, by the way.
Yes, he is. As is, I think they got Isaiah Likely too.
Yes, they did.
Dude, they had a,
they said, screw the wide receivers. We're picking the tight ends.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they had 6 4th-round picks. 6.
They had a bunch, yeah.
And they crushed it. That 4th round had some of my, my top hopes, my secret little late round hopes. They got all of them in the 4th round.
What was amazing is Jelani Woods, shot up boards like nobody could. We were thinking about Jelani Woods in the 5th round. It's like, no. Teams really valued him.
Jelani Woods.
Yeah, he went in the second to third. I think he went in the 2nd round.
Yep. And for a guy that came, not that long before the draft, he was considered a late 6th or 7th round pick. So for him,
that's what I'm saying. He shot up.
Good for him, man. He's probably the highest UVA guy in a long time. So that's really cool.
When you combine his size and speed and athleticism, it's hard to find. You can't find guys like that.
Yeah. And dude, and a perfect 10 athletically, on top of it, you know what I mean?
And he also has an excellent personality and, is a smart kid and all that kind of thing. When you combine everything, it's hard to find.
Where did he go again? Who took him?
Yeah, I want to say Dallas, but that's not right.
Let me real quick look here. I got to know. So there's a question there on the table there on the screen. Yes, we're doing a massive tailgate, guys, and we're going to
the Colts.
The Colts. There he goes.
Those Colts had a sneaky good draft. Those Colts.
They did. Well, they're still starting their 6th straight different starting quarterback opening day. So now I happen to think well of Matt Ryan, his talent. 14 years. He's
after chaotic Carl down. Now they got Matty Ice as a perfect.
That's right. And I was listening to Sirius XM today, and they're earlier in the morning, like the opening drive show, and they were talking about. There's a lot of Colts saying things positively about Matt Ryan, and they were saying, "Oh, he's so organized. He's this. He's calm," and the hosts were saying, I don't think that's necessarily about Matt Ryan solely. I think it might be their thoughts about Carson Wentz, but kind of taking the high road, so the word is they didn't really enjoy their time with Carson Wentz. So that
Something went wrong. Something went wrong at the end of the year. He's got that relationship with Frank Reich. If he can't work it out with Frank Reich, how's he going to make it work with Riverboat Ron over in with the Washcom?
Right?
I mean, okay, now you got Carl and Riverboat Ron. How's that going to work?
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe Ron is the perfect guy for him.
Maybe,
hopefully,
yeah, maybe.
I have to say, I was very surprised that was the Washington Commanders' solution to quarterback. I don't know. I don't know, man. I thought they would.
I mean, they passed on Justin Fields the year before. They could have moved up to get him. They've made some strange decisions on quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I don't know. I mean, and look, I think Ron Rivera is a very strong coach. Clearly he got fired in Carolina, so he had that go sour on him. But I still think he's a very good coach. But this quarterback thing, if you don't get it right, I mean, even guys like Chris Ballard, the general manager of the Colts, he's done just a spectacular job building that team. Very well thought of GM. There were rumblings last year like this 5 or 6 straight, different straight starting quarterbacks since Andrew Luck. That's, people are not happy with that. And that includes Bill Polian. All right. Bill Polian, is that the owner's name?
No,
that's the other GM, Irsay. Right.
Yeah, Jim Irsay. Yeah, and Jim Irsay is getting up there in years. I mean, and he wants a winner, and he's a very outspoken owner, Jim Irsay. Hey, he talks like this. Hey, brother.
Yeah.
So he's getting up there in age, and of course he wants to win, and and he knows quarterback turn. But I think they're going to have Matty Ice for at least 2 years, so they'll end that streak.
Yep. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. That's why, look, say what you want about anything you want with football, but I do appreciate sincerely the way that the Jets have chosen to build this team. Like going and getting your new quarterback, not trying to make it work with Sam for another 2 years, and not bringing in a vet to start, and just get your guy and develop him. Like that's give him the weapons, protect him, give him everything he needs. Sick Nicky, the nutritionist, on him, make him eat right, all the stuff, and just
he listens.
What's that?
What's nice about that? He listens. A lot of these guys, they give him a nutrition plan, they throw it in the garbage. They say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to eat Wendy's."
Right. Remember Ocho Cinco? He was a very vocal supporter of McDonald's. He's like, I eat McDonald's 3 times a day.
Even Kobe Bryant used to say, I just get a burger from McDonald's, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah. It's funny because clearly it didn't infringe upon their success.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it did. Maybe like a guy like Ocho Cinco had 5 more years in him if he wasn't all clogged up with Big Mac in his veins.
Right.
So let's see. Sneakers to Boots checking in. He says Corey Davis, 800 yards or so, 5-6 touchdowns. Do we re-sign him? What do you think, Frankie?
Well, the good news is we don't have to re-sign him.
Yeah, there you go.
If he has that year, we keep him. There's no doubt about it, because that's a solid year. And in this offense, if we assume that Elijah has 1,000 and Garrett Wilson maybe has another 800, and you had Elijah with 1,000, Davis with 800, Garrett with 800, and Braxton kicks in another 400. Denzel has 500. It's probably too many yards, but if it's something like that, then you say, okay, Corey Davis is part of our crew here. He's contributing greatly. Let's keep him for another year and take it from there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the truth is we don't have to re-sign him. He would already be here. I'm not sure what the 3rd year of his contract looks like. But my thoughts are this, and this is my desire, that changing the offense every single year or two because there's a shiny thing over here. Like,
unnecessarily.
Right. Just if he's putting up 800 yards and 6 touchdowns, 5 or 6 touchdowns. And like you said, Elijah Moore gets 1,000. Garrett Wilson does whatever. The tight ends, keep the band together, man. Just keep them together.
Continuity is underrated. That's a very good point, GreenBean. Continuity is very underrated. Everybody wants to change everything out.
That's right.
That's what you get. That's what gets you in trouble. Continuity is very important, I think.
You look at the Bills, the core of their team, and particularly the defense, but the whole team, the core has been together since they started it in 2017 and really 2018. It's the same faces. They know their systems inside and out. There's no thinking. They know each other's tendencies inside and out. There's no guesswork. And that's when you start to see flow. You start to see smooth, and they know how to cover each other and back each other up and work together. That telepathic relationship between the quarterback and the skill positions. That's all stuff we haven't even given ourselves a chance to see. I would even like, look, we got Flacco as a backup quarterback. I would even like, hey, dude, here's a 5-year contract to be our backup quarterback. Fucking keep him here too. Just keep everybody together if it's working. If it's working, we get 7-8 wins this year. We're looking like we have some potential to be a potent offense. Our defense is middle of the package. Keep them together and just add on top of it through the draft, a well-placed free agent here or there, but keep them together, because that's what I think we've been missing. I mean, among other things, but I think at the core of it all, we've been missing that. We have all new guys every year, new faces. Look at all the friggin' wide receivers Sam had. I mean, it was like every year, a whole bunch of new scrubs for him to toss it around to. You can't win like that.
And let's hope that the processes that Joe Douglas is putting in place in terms of the coaching staff, the scouting staff, those things remain consistent as well, so that every year we have a consistent process so that we make good decisions. And so far with these two, Saleh and Douglas, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Davis cap number is 11. Yeah, so there's no reason to get rid of, as long as he's productive and healthy, no reason to get rid of Corey for 23.
Right.
We'll see what happens in 23.
That's right. And if those numbers that were just put up, if he gets 800 yards and 5 touchdowns,
that's a steal, is right.
Think about it, right, man? Like, let's see, Amari Cooper costs 20, Devontae Adams costs 30. So what are they?
Christian Kirk cost 21.
Yeah,
guy's a slot receiver.
So, like, realistically, what are they going to give you? Like, realistically, what do you think Amari Cooper? What, 1,200 yards? Right? Something like that. That'd be great. 10 touchdowns, something along those lines, maybe more. But you're paying $20 million. You're right. You're paying $20 million for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, and you're paying $11 million for 800 yards and 5 to. So I think
if this is true, if Anthony's right, I mean, what a great contract by Joe Douglas. I mean, again, Joe Douglas knows how to write these damn contracts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing. He's not McCagning this thing.
No,
he's not. He knows how to write his contract. They're fair to the players. They get their money. But he doesn't hamstring the club. I mean, it's amazing.
So, yeah, that's the thing. He has outs written in, like Corey Davis, like Sheldon Rankins. Like what we would be seeing just a few years ago is that Sheldon Rankins, if he continues to be a non-factor, we owe him $15 million still.
He's got to be here for 5 years. Yeah. Like Corey Davis and Carl Lawson were the big two contracts last year. They both have outs after this year. So if they're injured or are terrible for whatever the reason, bye-bye. See ya.
That's it.
We're not, and then we move on. That's all. And that's good. I mean, but if they perform and play well, then they get paid, and that's kind of how it should be.
Yeah, I agree. And look, when Corey Davis was signed, like the $12 million, it was kind of like considered. It was one of Joe Douglas's bigger contracts because he hasn't really done that all that much up to this point. But look at the deal now. Like last year, the wide receiver value exploded.
Right.
And we have a starting caliber guy. We don't know what he's going to be. I'm okay with Corey Davis. I think he's going to be fine. But
especially now with the players we have around him. If you don't want him to be wide receiver 1, you're fine with Corey Davis. He's fine. I mean, unless he repeats this 8.5% drop percentage, like Corey, just catch the ball like you always have been. Yeah. I'm hoping that's an outlier. But if he does that, he's going to be just fine for that amount of money.
So Hennessy,
the tailgate.
Here, he says,
because you went into your comedy tour. I mean, who knew there was going to be a Green Bean comedy tour going on? This is breaking news. Breaking news. It's Thursday news day.
There you go. Well, I'm sorry, Hennessy Heisman. I thought I went through all the details. So we're working out the specifics, but I was talking to Sack Exchange from Twitter just earlier today, and we're also working on the Jets chant on the Cyclone too. So we there's a good chance that we'll get that going for that Saturday before the
going on.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna make it right. It's gonna be a Jets weekend, bro. And then the greatest thing about it is that we're gonna win. That's gonna be the icing on the cake. I'm gonna lose my marbles. I won't even be drunk. So we're going the exact specifics, Hennessy, haven't been worked out yet, but I can tell you, I am a part of the Sack Exchange Jets Lounge group of tickets. Like, so me, Matt, Ryan, Tyson in prime time. I think Buffalo's in on it. There's a whole bunch of us guys going with the Sack Exchange group, the Jets Lounge group, and we're going to watch the game in the hangar. I think guys like Damian Woody and Tony Richardson and Lavernius Coles are coming. So it's going to be cool. So if you can get in on that, go to Jets Lounge. I think they have their website is up, but go to the Jets Lounge online and see if they still have tickets. Because if you guys can get in on that, that's the best. But even in addition to that, we're going to be doing a tailgate beforehand outside, and we'll tell you guys exactly where it is. The only thing I can say for sure is that it's definitely 100% happening. We might league up with Gotham City crew and do it that way, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not in charge. I'm a follower on that one. The Coney Island thing, the comedy thing, I'm running those. At least I'm a part of the brain trust. I mean, the tailgate, I'm just like, where do I go, sir? That's all I'm doing. So it'll be fun, Hennessy. I hope you guys can make it. Now, before we I want to bring Y2K on and Jeremy on, get some trivia going and all that stuff. But before, you know what? I'll bring him on first. And then I'm going to remind you guys that it is Wesley Walker's birthday today. At least I think it is. Yeah, I think it's today. So we're going to watch a little clip and in remembrance of that. We'll watch a little Wesley Walker action. So let's say hello to our good buddy, the Virginia Jets fan club's president. Let's say hello to Y2K. What's up there?
Good evening, gentlemen. How's your Thursday going?
It's just trucking right along, Y2K. We're just doing the thing, talking Jets, trying to get through the off season,
Digging deep for topics.
That's it. I'll tell you what, though, the Jets are doing an okay job releasing some stuff, giving us some practice stuff, seeing the guys run around. So that's, at least they're doing that for us. A few years ago, they didn't give us that stuff. So I'm excited. You know what I'm really excited about, Y2K, is Flight 2022. That's the one I'm excited about.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. We're going to see the behind the scenes of the draft process. Oh, I can't wait. It's like, what is it? It's 5 episodes this time, I think. You remember?
5. I'm not sure if it's 5 or 6. It's one of those. Hopefully, they give us a little bit of a look at free agency too, with making some of those phone calls to some of those players. So it's going to be very interesting. Last year we learned about the grass. Maybe this year, who knows? We'll learn about the training facilities. Maybe we'll learn about the nutritionists. Maybe the nutritionists will make an appearance this season.
Maybe. Well, in fairness, the grass was on a One Jets Drive episode. That whole episode was about the groundskeeper.
Yep,
we know more about him.
Right.
Suppose it looks like he's doing a really good job. So, hey, we got that taken care of. Thank you, Joe Douglas. We got that guy. That's good. So, Y2K, we're going to go ahead and show a little clip from Twitter of one of the greatest Jets to ever slap on our uniform. So this is probably his best game. So we'll show you a little clip of this here. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but we'll get it going. And where are we here? Let's make this big. Can you guys see that? All right, there we go. So here we go. Let's enjoy a few moments of one of our greats, Wesley Walker, number 85. And if you didn't remember, he was actually blind in one eye. So this is how he was doing this. Let's take a look.
He needs 13. He's wide open. Wesley Walker. The Jets have taken the lead again. Ryan going deep for Walker. Wesley Walker scores again.
He was the best, man.
Loved him.
Look at this guy.
Walker touchdown! Oh my!
Oh my! As Dick Ember calls.
To Walker, touchdown! Oh my!
Look at Kenny O. Oh, I love it.
That was the team. That was the team, man. That was the team.
That-
Freeman
that
McNeil,
was the
Kenny O,
team.
Wesley Walker. That was the team.
So if you guys aren't aware, that was one game. That was in one game. That was the very famous 51-49 game against the Miami Dolphins. I remember watching that game. I was just a little tyke. I was probably 12 or something like that. And like watching the aerial assault that we had the capability of being, watching that game, if there was any shot of me not maintaining my Jets fandom, it was done that day. That was a day that stamped me as a Jets fan. You guys remember that game? Frankie, did you actually watch it? Remember it?
I'm pretty sure I must have. That was my team. Wesley Walker was my guy. He was the one I would get the jersey of when I was a boy. I always wanted to be Wesley Walker. And it was because he was blind in one eye. And it was like, how the hell is he doing this?
Right.
He was so awesome. So, yeah, I'm sure I did watch it. I don't really remember watching it, but I must have. What else was I doing as a kid? Besides running around in the streets. So, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And we didn't have all the context that we do now. I thought Kenny O'Brien was the greatest. I thought he was the best.
Well, hey, Frankie,
other than Marino, like, you know,
for a little while there, Frankie led the league. I mean, not Frankie, Ken O'Brien. He was better than Marino for a very short period of time there. So we thought we had him, but then we just never protected him.
We didn't have all these resources to know this guy's great. What about this guy from the 49ers? What about that one? I mean, if they came on later in the day, great. You saw him, but you know, you didn't really know much other than that.
Right. You just loved your guys.
Yeah.
Ratu K, you remember that game? Were you around yet?
No, I was born in 81. I can't remember. That was what, 1986, I want to say?
Yeah,
I was 5. My first Jets memories are like 88, 89, pretty much right at the end of that era. Like Al Toon is like the biggest thing I remember. I really don't have any memories of Wesley Walker actually playing, to be honest. I didn't even know he was blind in one eye until a couple months ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Legally blind.
Legally blind. That was new news to me. So
yeah, I mean, you know what that means. It's like technically he can see a little bit. He's legally blind and he can see a little bit. But
he can see enough.
Yeah, he's like, I can see.
Yeah.
I can totally see.
I wonder if that would have come up, if other teams knew that. I mean, was that common knowledge back then? I mean, you think if they had a combine, that would have been a topic? How's your eyesight doing today, Wesley?
I don't know. Kayvon Thibodeau likes to play chess. We got to dock him points.
Yeah, that would have taken a few points off his Wonderlic test, I'm sure.
Yeah, and look at Chris Bradigan saying, look at the balls from Kenny O. Dude, there was a time there. Kenny O was known for that. He's just tossing it down the field. And he had that really precise, deep ball. He was good, man. The problem with Kenny O is that we got him killed. He was like the most sacked quarterback in the NFL a bunch of years. And I don't remember the specifics, but that was the big problem. Kenny O was under pressure constantly. And invariably, that's one of the reasons that they said that Al Toon ended up getting so many concussions, because Kenny O's balls were a little bit erratic and Al Toon was amazing, full extension, and would get killed and land on the concrete turf that we had then. You don't want to talk about bad AstroTurf. All that was a little thin layer of carpet over a concrete platform. So those guys, Jesus, poor Al Toon, man. I miss those guys. But hey, maybe this is the year. Maybe Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore and Berrios and Mims and maybe we got something, guys. Maybe we got something here. Wouldn't that be amazing? I don't know. I think it's real, Y2K. Are we just doing the same thing we do every year?
We'll never know for sure until the season begins, but in terms of the number of weapons who could make a legitimate difference for this team, I can't remember the last time we had this many offensive playmakers on a Jets team. I mean, even if you go back, even in 2015, it was really Marshall and Decker and Ivory. It was really those three guys. I mean, we did a trivia question about this. The The only other receiver, I think, with 2 touchdowns or more receiving touchdowns was Jeremy Curley. So you look at some of the at how many tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs you have, plus the offensive line. Why shouldn't we be excited about this offense? As long as that continues to progress the way that we believe that he can, why shouldn't we be excited about this offense? Now, we know better than to get our hopes too high because they've been dashed so many times, but this is an offense that I can get behind being excited about.
Yeah, that's well said, man. I think even Jets forever. I think he might be going extreme on us, Y2K. He might be he's saying that we're going to have 2 tight ends with 1,000 yards, and you know what he thinks it's Ruckert and Yeboah. So I mean, he's excited. He thinks it's the best wide receiver core in the league. That's why when people say Jets forever is a troll, like, no, he's really not. He's just a pendulum swinger. He just goes from that guy sucks to we are the best. That's all he's got. That's all he's got.
He's just an extremist.
No
he's
nuance.
the ultimate all or nothing.
Nothing
poster.
No nuance whatsoever.
No nuance. Yep, he's a top of the pendulum guy. So Kevin C checking in. He says, being the Jets will probably win 1 game we shouldn't and lose 1 game we shouldn't. What game do you all think is the upset game, and which game do we get stomped? Y2K, what do you think? Take this one first.
Okay, my first thought is a game we get stomped. I'm very worried about them that we're not expecting. I'd say Minnesota. I don't feel good about playing Dalvin Cook. I could see Thielen Jefferson going off, but really, I don't know how well we're going to handle a physical running back with that kind of agility. And that to me, he's just as impressive of a running back as I've seen in quite some time. I'm a big Cook fan. I don't know if we can contain him. If I've got to pick an upset game, if I'm really, so my mind's kind of going through all these different games.
I know. Are there any teams we're supposed to beat? I don't even know.
I mean, outside of Jacksonville or Detroit,
Bears.
Yeah, Detroit.
Bears.
I'm sorry, we haven't beaten the Bears in 22 years. I can't call this an upset. Not until we actually finally beat them.
That's disgusting.
When the heck do we play them ever, though? We don't really play them.
I know it's every 4 years, but it's the same thing with the Eagles. We haven't beaten the Bears since 2000. And, as a resident of Chicago for 20 years back in the day, I took those losses personally.
Yeah, but they're scuffling now. I mean, they're starting all over. They gave Justin Fields no weapons this offseason, really.
Yeah. They're a mess.
They're a mess right now, I think.
Yeah, let's see if everybody piles on them like they did with us, or they'll just leave it alone.
If I got to pick a win, I'm gonna say, even though I don't think we're thinking this way about this team, I think a lot of people still think New England is New England. I do believe we will beat New England 1 time for the first time since 2015. I do believe that will happen.
Oh, I love it. Frankie, what do you think? We got a game that we should lose and we're going to win, and a game like the Bengals last year, or you got a game that we should lose and win, or win and lose? What do you think?
I think we'll get stomped by the Bills. I think the Bills have maybe the best roster in all of football, so I think they're going to stomp us. I don't think we have much of a shot, especially since once they got Von Miller. I mean, that was just crazy.
I know it shouldn't even be allowed.
Nobody's expecting us to beat the Bills anyway. So
right, but that's the stomp game. And then I would say I have us actually beating the Patriots twice, and I have us beating the Dolphins twice. How about that? So probably the game we are not favored to win. The second game in Miami, in January, I'll say we'll win that one. And a game we shouldn't lose, but will. I don't know. That's a tough
like 3
one.
choices.
I mean, yeah, right. Yeah, you could say the Bears, the Lions, or the Jags. I don't want us to lose any of those.
I know. I want to win them all.
But if we had to lose one, I would say it's going to be the Lions, because I think the Lions are going to be much better than people think. Much, much better. I think they're doing really nice things up in Detroit, actually.
I think so too. I mean, I the whole Goff thing, I think they're limited. They're capped with him.
What? You're not in favor of the Goffense?
Yeah.
What is going on? The Goffense is going to take over the league.
Yeah, that's what I hear from Frankie.
They can take over 3rd place in their division. That's about it.
Hey.
So here's what I think. Here's my thoughts. The game that we're supposed to lose and we're going to win is the Ravens. We're going to come out and we're going to kick them right in their balls. They're not going to know what happened until a week later. And the game that we are supposed to win and we're going to lose, if it does go that way, I do think is going to be Detroit. I think that'll be the team because, look, no matter how you slice it, they're stacking good players up there. Again, we don't know how good they're going to be one way or the other, but I think that they're doing some stuff that I like. So I think that'll be how it goes.
Their offensive line is pretty stacked, and they have 2 good running backs, and they got a bunch of good wide receivers. Remember, they have Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and TJ Hawkinson at tight end. But their defense needs work. They're not going to be great this year, but I think they're going to make a lot of strides, and I think the offense is going to be fine. Because
their coach is always looking to bite a kneecap. We know that's the truth.
That's right. He's still hungry. Right. So Jets Forever checks in just to remind us what he's thinking. Jets 56, the Ravens 0. So that's
highly unlikely.
It's unlikely.
It's highly unlikely.
It's possible. It's possible. That'll be good.
You know what? In passing yards, at one point, it might be Jets 56, Ravens nothing with passing yards. That I could see.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe
that could be a bet on verses.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Maybe. So let's bring Jeremy on before we wrap this up. See what he thinks. If he sees a different trap game and a different hero game. What do you think there, Jeremy? You're muted. You there? No,
sorry about that. I think a trap game is. I'm actually worried about the Seattle game.
Seattle,
even though they have no business beating us and don't have a quarterback, I'm still worried about it. That Pete Carroll's gonna, always it's gonna haunt us, and Jamal Adams, and it's just because it's one of those games I really don't want to lose. That's got me worried because it's like the last thing I want is Jamal Adams beating us. And so it worries me.
Oh, I know that.
Don't worry about it. What we're going to do there is we're going to go in the night before and we are going to steal all of Pete Carroll's gum supply. He's going to have no more gum supply whatsoever. And that's going to he's going to be like a raving lunatic. He's not going to know what to do without his gum to chomp on. That's how we're going to secure the win.
I'm confident. I feel good about the Seattle game. It's still late in the season. I think Seattle's going to be completely mentally checked out. Jamal Adams will be checked out of that game. So
we can have
let's see what kind of motivation they have.
Yeah. You know what, man? But I'll tell you what, the way that it goes for Jets fans is maximum pain, right? That's the way it goes for us. Whatever can hurt us the most, that's what happens. Just like last year with the Sam Darnold game. It's like Sam sucked for, 80% of the year. But when he played us, he got to throw the bomb touchdown to Robbie Anderson because that's the dagger to our heart. There was no other play that could have hurt us like that. And that's the way, and it goes like that all the time. So I could see that. I think it's all going to start changing now. I'm a firm believer that the winds are blowing. That's what I think. That's what I see. I think the winds of change are here, but still, that's the way that it would go. We could go on a 6-0 run into Seattle. And Jamal Adams would get 3 interceptions.
What if you could get a win, but Jamal Adams gets 2 pick sixes, but we win, or we lose and Jamal Adams is just like getting trucked all day and night, and then
okay. Are we going for a playoff spot, or are we checking Tankathon at this point in the season?
So it's a good question though, because our hatred is strong. So there are definitely some people that say, you know what? I don't care as long as we make him look foolish. I would have to say, look, it's about the W.
Yeah.
But what week do we play them? You guys remember?
Week 6. Well, week 17. It's the second to last season. We go all the way to Seattle, and then the last week in the season, we got to go all the way to Miami. So that travel is tough right there.
Wow. That is tough. You know what I hate about that? I hate that they go back home first. You know what I mean? Just go.
Maybe they'll go straight to Miami. Maybe they'll just do it. Maybe they'll do that.
Well, they rarely do. Like even times when they're playing 2 West Coast teams, like they'll come back for 2 days. Weird. And then I never liked that. It's like, what? You guys are $1 billion operation. Get a hotel, rent out a high school field, like figure it out and stay over there. So that part of it's not in the it's not a factor. But they do it. They do it, man. If they go home for 2 days and then they fly again, I hate it. But we'll see. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't this year. Maybe we get smart and they don't do it.
I
What's
have an
up, Jeremy?
upset game. I have an upset game too. For
Oh,
our
yeah,
upset.
go ahead.
I say that my upset game is that we're going to go in and beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think we're beating Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I mean, they're talking about Trubisky being the starting quarterback. And the problem with that is if you have Trubisky as your starting quarterback, you wasted your first round pick on a backup quarterback. So that could be something that really haunts them. Now, if Trubisky turns out to be great for some reason, then they're not going to worry about it, I guess. But yeah, Pittsburgh may not be Pittsburgh, the traditional Pittsburgh that we're used to the last 20 years.
Yeah. Well, you know what, too? I mean, even if Mitch Trubisky starts the first 5-6 games of the season, that could be the plan, too. I mean, you don't want to necessarily put Pickett out there just for the sake of putting him out there. You know what I mean? If it needs a couple of weeks, that's why you got Trubisky. I could see that. We play him week 4. I think we would get the Trubiskys, the Pittsburgh Trubiskys. But, honestly, I mean, I'm not as much of a Trubisky hater as everybody else as far as his talent. I think he's a talented he's still a young quarterback. You know what I mean? He's only 6 years in the league. When you look at how long quarterbacks play now, he definitely has time to still turn it around. And if there's an organization to do that with, it could be argued that Pittsburgh is the organization, man. I don't know. I think we're going to beat them too. Frankie, going to go to that game?
I might. I don't know. We got to get it organized.
Frankie Fest. There it is.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the end of our show. So we're going to get to the trivia right now. Y2K, what do you have in store for us tonight?
All right, and right on cue, Jeremy leaves. He didn't want to.
He knows. Yeah, he's like, I can't answer
it. And I'm going to see him on Sunday. It's going to be awesome. All right. So your question tonight is about jersey numbers. We're going to go a little different topic. Name the last player to wear number 28 for the Jets, other than Curtis Martin.
Ooh, Frankie, you know this one?
No, I have no idea.
Guys, without looking it up, remember the trivia rules. We don't look it up. I know some of you can't help it, but we don't tell us that we looked it up at least. All right. So who wore the number 28? Who was the last player to wear the number 28 that was not Curtis Martin? So I guess they had it live before they retired it. Is that how it goes, Y2K? For a little while. All right. So let's see. We got Coleman.
I'm not even sure which Coleman he's talking about. It's
one of the Marcuses.
Just any one of the Colemans. Yeah, it's a good all-around last name.
Yeah, it's a nice.
No, I can tell you that. No, this was before Curtis came to the Jets, so this is not a recent player.
Wait, it's the last player to wear it before Curtis Martin got here?
That's right.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that, because they didn't retire.
Nobody's worn it since Curtis.
Nobody's worn it since Curtis. Okay, so who was the last? Okay, the last player to wear it before Curtis Martin. Let's see what we got in the chat. Joe McKnight was 25, I think. Joe McKnight was 25.
I was 29.
Darius Stewart.
I think he was
Why
10.
Are you bringing up a Darius Stewart?
It's sad that I remember a Darius Stewart's number.
Anthony G checks in and says Michael Clemens is the answer to every trivia question. There it is. Powell was 29. So this is going to be before Curtis Martin, right? Yeah, Rob V said the same. Yeah, no, before Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
So Bilal Powell was 29, by the way, guys. So gonna make you take it, says, I don't know. Good answer. So are we before Curtis? This is tough. All right, we got to think. It was a defensive back, I think. That's what I think. I don't think it was a running back. I think it was a defensive back. And I am going to say, oh, no, he was, okay. I got to go back. That's so fucking far ago.
I can remember these names.
So that was 1998 we got him.
So Jake is asking, can I give you the position? So keep in mind there's only two groups of positions who would wear the 20s back then. It's either a running back or it's a defensive back. It's one of the two. And I will tell you this much. It was in 1996. I'll give you the year. And he was a Jet for one season. He played, but he was a Jet for one season.
This is hard.
Then I think Michael is right then in the chat. I think he's saying Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson was 39.
It is not Johnny Johnson.
Yeah, Adrian Morrell was. That feels
he was
good.
29, I
he was
believe.
29, right? Yeah,
that's
close.
Good 29s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like me to give you the position?
Jake's like, let's go. This is brutal. I know somebody's got to know this, and I don't. I think it's a defensive back. That's what I think it is.
Would you like me to give you the position?
Yeah.
It is a running back.
So there you go. That's like I just said.
Yep. It was Adrian Morrell. Oh, we have a correct answer in the chat.
Reggie Cobb.
Reggie Cobb.
No wonder.
That's right.
No wonder.
In 1996, he played 15 games, 25 rushes for 95 yards, and he scored a touchdown in the only game the Jets won that season against the powerhouse Arizona Cardinals.
There you
Reggie
go.
Cobb.
That's right. That was back when the Cardinals were all the rage for 30 years.
Every time the Jets play the Cardinals, it's either an offensive orgy or it sets football back 20 years.
Right. Well, that was a tough one. So what year did you say? I'm sorry. What year was that? 96?
96. The year before I guess the year before Parcells came in.
Yeah. So that was the Rich Kotite. That was the 1-in-15 year.
Yep.
Which, interestingly enough, all you noobs out there who weren't around, yes, we had a worse record, but it was not a worse team than we watched with Adam Gase. The Adam Gase years were actually worse. That team just couldn't seem to win, but they played hard and they had some talent. So we had good wide receivers too. We had Keyshawn, we had Jeff Graham.
Jeff Graham
was there. Wayne Crabette. So we had a little crew. But Reggie Cobb at running back, that's why. That's it right there. So, all right, guys. Well, look, you got us again. I think we're like 1-in-18 with this one. So
we never get these questions right.
Yeah, we only a handful at best.
Frankie, let me ask you a question. So if I was to do trivia, what kind of questions do you think you might do well in? I think everybody wants to see you participate.
I'm not good at football trivia. I could tell you that. Baseball, I'm much better because I followed baseball a lot closer, especially statistically, for all my life. Football, I wasn't hardcore into like the stats and everything until recently. I would just watch whatever's on TV. So I'm not good at trivia in football. Just not. Like in hockey, I'm even worse. If you said was any question about hockey, I'd be like, Wayne Gretzky, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Wayne Gretzky.
I have no idea.
Correct.
Yeah, but yeah, football. I'm bad at trivia.
Yeah, Anthony G checks in and said that was the Frank Reich year. It all comes back to Carson Wentz tonight. Yeah, you're right. That was a good comeback. But Frank Reich, it's funny. He was known as a long-time backup quarterback for the Jets, starter. And that's the kind of stuff we do. It's all over, guys. It's all over. This is the end. We have seen the end of the bad times. We are here. However many games we win, I don't know, but the culture is changed. We are no longer the Jets we've been watching for 10 years. I want to assure you of that. I'm very confident. So let's do the round table. Jeremy, tell everybody quickly what you got. What's going on? You changed the name of your channel. Let's make sure everybody knows. What are you doing?
Okay, it's just Jets Chaos with Jeremy. Doing a lot of short videos. So aside from the Wednesday and Sunday night show, Wednesday with Adam, who's right here. I'm sorry, Watsu-K99.
Yeah, on this
I
show.
always do that. But Sunday night with Tom C. And lots of new short videos. I'm throwing my hat in that game, and it's been a lot of fun. So look out for those.
30-second videos. Jets Chaos with Jeremy. He's rocking it. Watsu-K, what do you got cooking, my friend?
Well, actually, for tonight, I'm actually thanks to Iowa Jetsfan Wine 2K. So,
Oh yeah, wine
That's right.
2K.
Does not even look like wine. That's
have you
not
no,
taken
I know on the camera it looks like iced tea, doesn't it? Like it looks like Snapple, but
It does. So, all right,
Snap
let's take just a brief moment. Now, Iowa Jets fan shipped that to WA2K in a very, very protected manner. Made sure it didn't break. You got to commend them. But so what is that wine made of again? What is it? And then can you take a sip and let us know what it is? How's it look? How's it taste?
well, I've got it sealed right now, and I'm thinking when I see Jeremy this weekend, I think that's the time that we might break the bottle open, and we'll have to try this one together. That way, in case somebody's trying to poison me, at least I'll take somebody with me. But
There you go.
yeah, just to break this down. So I know I'm mispronouncing this, but Seven Red is a special blend of French, American, and native varieties with a touch of sweetness. Chill it and enjoy it alone or with light foods from Madrid, Iowa. So it's a
Whenever
red
it
table
says
wine. Yeah,
what table wine, yeah, that's
a red
always
table wine.
dangerous.
It's like a dark pink.
Whenever the bottle suggests that you drink it alone, it's not a good start. Drink it
Well,
alone.
I hope it's
I'll
seen
give
a
you this
grape
much.
at some point.
At least it's not in a box. Okay. There
It
are
was not a
people
box.
out
This is
there-
not Bartles and James.
There's people out there who think drinking wine out of a box is perfectly acceptable, which it's not. Absolutely
yeah,
not.
Yeah, they got
I
wine
used
out
to
of
love it.
cans now. I've seen canned
No,
wine recently.
that's
canned
also not
wine.
acceptable.
Yeah.
I
No.
used to drink, I would love because they were 5 gallons, you know what I mean? Or like 2 gallons with those boxes. Maybe not 5, but like at least a gallon. But I used to love it because I would get all freaked out on other stuff and I would just I would pick up the boxes, go and drink like a half a gallon in one sip. So unless that's what you're doing, I would agree with Frankie.
Not recommended. Not recommended.
Drink it alone, the bottle says.
And I drink alone with
Or with
nobody
light food.
else.
So dandelion wine, right? You know, guys, that's actually a Jerome
That's a
brings up
thing.
an interesting point. Dandelion wine was actually, you know, all the dandelions that pollute our lawns and just take over the world. They were brought here on purpose by the paisans because they liked dandelion wine. So they are the ones who brought
Always the
dandelions over here.
paisans.
It's always the paisans. That and pizza.
Trying something.
No, it's a cork, Stud City. So it's not a screw-on cap. So it's got that.
This is a cork. This is not a screw. Yeah, definitely not a screw-on cap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. And I thought it was open. So yeah,
No, it's
that's
not
good. You
open.
wait till you get with Jeremy and
I think we get. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get the chair. We're gonna have to go on a search to find the infamous chair, and because I think this is the type of wine you have to have a sip of it in the chair. You know, in the infamous wicker-ish Game of Thrones chair.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So Braden says we call that sort of wine goon down under. So he's got himself a bottle of goon. There you go. Frankie, what do you got cooking, my friend?
Well, Frankie from Flatbush Channel, videos coming up. I got one on Jason Pinnock coming up on Saturday, and then I'm going to do a reaction to the PFF power rankings. They don't think too highly of us. By the way, they got us about 25th in the league. But if you think about it, that's actually not too bad.
It's an improvement.
And the first sentence in the write-up is actually correct and basically says Joe Douglas did an amazing job building the team up. Now it's up to Zach Wilson. And that's pretty much correct. I mean, yes, exactly right. But anyway, I'm going to do a reaction video to that one. I think that's going to come up on Sunday. And then, of course, on Tuesday, there's always Tuesday News Day, which people seem to enjoy. So look forward to that on Tuesdays.
There you go. And all their links, even to the Virginia Jets Fan Club Facebook page, all the links are in the description of this video. So you can make it nice and easy and go give these guys some support. They're doing good stuff out there. Don't forget about the Versus app. We're having a good time over there on the Versus app. And you can even win some money if you feel real confident in your guess. You can win some cash. You can bet up to $1 million, I hear. So maybe you get $1 million. If you lose, you got to hide, though. There's that. So also, you can join the Beanbaggers and hang out with us. I'm releasing the post-draft schedule. I was going to do it today, but I'll probably do it right after this or maybe in the morning. But yep, we got all kinds of stuff planned for the weeks. We have hangout sessions and all kinds of stuff. It's a good time. If you're interested in joining the Beanbaggers, that link is also in the description of this video. It's right there. Just click on it and it'll take you to the place you need to be. And that all said, guys, thank you for being here. I love you guys in the chat. You're the best. And this was fun. We had a good time, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man. I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.